This episode of Scav Talk is brought to you by Lethal Gaming Gear. And welcome back to Scav Talk, everyone. Today's episode, we'll be discussing hot off the presses, hot off the BSG printing press, brand new patch 16 dot something. Talk about that, what's in the update. Then we got Tarkov to recap various other little bits and pieces, some Nikita news, Scav survey in the game, BSG using more of the survey, get some free loot, very nice, we love to see it. DLSS 4 gets official plus official support from BSG, implemented in the game, which is pretty cool. No more finicking around with presets and Nvidia settings. Giga continue his tirade.
To an extent.
What?
I said to an extent.
To an extent, yeah. Maybe you gotta switch to preset here and there if you're that finicky. I did notice that. But, yeah, other than that, Giga continue his tirade. Dying on that hill of M61. Like, that is the one thing. Like, I've seen you be adamant about a few different things, in Tarkov. And you're usually pretty level-headed about these types of things, Like, I think the one that comes to mind is, like, Arena. The fact you were, like, very, very distraught that Arena wasn't syncing properly when it first came out. And it was, like, wiping people's progress. And, that was, like, one thing that stands out. And then, but M61, it's like, you're like I said last week, you're being the change that you want to see. You basically want everyone to suffer. So that way they can nerf M61 to the ground.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I'm not going to die on that hill. Everyone else is to my M61 now that I've got it. So that's how it's going to go. We'll get onto that later. Get onto that in a little bit. So have you been playing much this week? What's the deal, Church? You've been doing... I know you've been, like, fiddling around with microphones and whatnot. The microphone situation is... it's come full circle. It's gone from a terrible mic last week, balanced on a cup, to... another ad hoc mic, which isn't the normal one, going through, taking stuff apart, putting stuff back together again, only to realize that maybe it's a driver issue.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a bit of a scramble to get prepared, as I was sending a message to someone that, my ADHD medication kicked in at its peak, and so I wrote them a short novel. But anyways, prior to that, earlier this week, I had looked up some videos, and I'm like, what is going on with my setup? And long story short, I took apart my mixer for my microphone. It's like a XLR mic, right? And it plugs in via USB in the computer. And because apparently, I thought maybe the issue was when I was speaking, there's like a signal indicator that flashes, or is supposed to stay fairly lit green whenever you're speaking. However, and some videos indicated that, if this thing's like blinking, your device might be power signaling. And I was like, mine's kind of flickering. So I thought maybe, take the thing apart. I like taking apart mice and destroy them. What could go wrong? So I took this thing apart. And I noticed there was some resin on the PCB for like the power supply portion of it, because there's like multiple PCB components that are like stacked onto this thing, which is kind of neat. I don't know, but yeah. So I was like, that probably, because it's like also like in the wires of one of the ribbon cables, and it was like so messy that it was like dripping down onto another part of the PCB. Like it was like I was like, okay, I should probably start here and then plug everything back up and see if it works. But I didn't have any high quality, like really concentrated isopropyl alcohol, so I had to buy some, and I'm waiting for that, which actually should be here today. So that will probably be a project, because I thought I had some, but I didn't. I had 70%, and we need the stronger stuff. And then when I'm setting up for the podcast, I'm noticing my setup is giving me issues where the mic is basically like through the software. It's like effectively disabling itself and then requiring to manually re-enable it, like refresh its memory. It's like, yeah, you are supposed to stay on. So I don't know what's wrong. Like, in fact, I'm looking at my software now, and it's, I'm getting no signal through it. But I routed everything through the raw USB mic from back in the early days, 2021, 20. When did we first start this podcast? I don't remember. It's been too dang long.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, this busting
while
out
back.
the old school microphone. I'm a podcaster, but really this is just a very cheap USB mic to make it look like I'm a podcaster. Probably doesn't sound the greatest. Probably better than the $1 mic attached to the Bojangles Sweet Tea Cup from last week. So hopefully we get things
cup and a
back.
string on a stick.
God, that was like ghetto times 10. I mean, that was really. I was telling Giga, I was like, I was so flustered setting up last week that I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn on Discord, crisp audio. There's sort of like software noise cancellation, audio enhancements, and we'll just deal with it. We'll go with it live because the other option was like using the webcam mic, and I was like, I'll just fix it in post. And so Sunday I pull it up in the editor, and I'm just like, oh my god, this was really bad. Like, I did the best I could. I mean, it was. I mean, man, it was just like there's basically just a constant funnel of wind playing in the background of my recording. Like, that's just all you could hear when you boosted the volumes. Like, it was just like the amount of like raw salvageable audio data that was like encoded in the recording was like minimal. Like, not even AI could
not
say
good.
that.
Well, at least we're here. We're here. It'll be fine. We'll get through it. It'll be okay. And then I'm sure next week, hopefully, we'll have a bit of better setup again. It means you can probably go back to the old one actually. But anyway, right. Let's get on to the patch. First. So BSG basically announced a technical patch. It's only 4 hours, so nothing crazy. They're not adding like a billion things. They're just doing some fixes. But this is one of the nicer fixed patches that I've seen. There's a whole list of stuff and some really cool things in here. So it starts with temporarily disable the less optimal technology of transparent object rendering for factory woods and the lab. This will significantly increase the game client performance on these locations. Similar adjustments for the other locations, as well as the option to enable the technology, will be added in future updates. I'm not 100% sure exactly what this means.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's factory woods and labs, which is like 3 of the best performing maps anyway. I have seen a few people saying like, from the rates they played today, they haven't seen like literally any increase in FPS at all. But I mean, it also could significantly increase client performance for like from a GPU perspective, right? Which for a lot of people aren't GPU bound, and so maybe that's why you don't really see any difference here.
Yeah,
possibly that's one reason.
Could also be related to like those dips and stutters, like 1% low, memory. I mean,
yeah,
any optimization typically is going to be good optimization. Which I've noticed, just as a quick side, I've noticed this patch in particular, like on streets and some of the other maps, like factory, like the glass, the windows, like it's like the alpha textures, or there's something wrong with like the alpha channel where like the edges on like there would be like broken glass, like not the squared glass that's like typical Russian bathhouse glass.
Yeah.
I don't know, but just like your regular window pane glass that's like broken, and like the edges are like almost like black and like very jaggedy. Like I don't know. It's like something's messed up with the alpha channel. But in this patch, they mentioned Factory Woods Labs, which is, I don't know about labs, but like I don't know. It's just I don't know if have you noticed? Am I crazy?
Yeah. I mean the black patches on the glass is maybe what they're talking about. So I don't really know. I know that it's bad in some places, but I think it's especially visible on maps that have got lots of glass, like streets where you're further away and there's also fog, and then you can see it through the fog, something like that. That's where I think it probably looks the worst. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I'm just talking about, yes, there is some weird blackness to the glass outside of, yeah.
I just find that really
off-putting. There's something weird going on with glass transparency, and I don't know. But it's just odd that they mention factory woods and lab. Like, I feel like I could name 2 spots. Like, if you gave me the map woods, and just like point to where glass is at, I could point to maybe 2 locations. This was like a Tarkov trivia quiz.
Maybe this is partly why, because it was easy to do this or something. They're like, we'll just do it here because it's straight. There's less glass. It's more straightforward.
Maybe
it could well be. And then, so similar updates for other locations. We'll see about that, hopefully. Lab does have a lot of glass, but not the glass that's usually problematic, and there's no fog on labs either, so I don't know. We'll see. It says here, adjusted the server logic in order to reduce packet loss and rubber banding during character movement. The rubber banding has been really bad this wipe when you're running around.
Yes, oh my god.
Especially when you're moving fast, it's been horrendous. And I played like a scav raid or 2 afterwards, just in the background, running around. I can't tell yet whether it's better, but it's certainly still there. So, yeah.
What map did you go on?
Streets.
Well, streets. Streets.
I know.
But, yeah. It is, I mean, I felt like I noticed it most at the start of a raid, like on Shoreline, or... I mean, that's probably because that's the most recent map I played, but like...
I guess so.
It's just like, you're running, it's just like, you just get rubber banded back. It's like, it's weird. It doesn't, like... And it happens like every 2 to 5 minutes, it's like, it's rough. So hopefully that particular thing that I'm describing got fixed, but also, if not, hopefully the thing you were describing got fixed as well.
The problem that I find with it is that I end up, I don't mind it so much outside, and it's annoying, but like, you end up missing like the entrances to stairwells and stuff. You like come out one room and go in the stairwell, and then you're running, and then it's like, oh, you're not there anymore, and then you're like, oh, then you're like just running into a wall or something, and it's just really awkward.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I've had it on Lighthouse a lot as well before. I've only played Streets though afterwards, so I don't know. Next one, fix the cause of the BTR becoming invisible. So there was a clip that I saw, like people were just like, where's the BTR? It just seems to be gone. And somebody, like there was no sound either. So somebody posted up a video of them like interacting with the beat, or like being able to see the BTR within the menu, but there's like nothing physically there. And I don't know whether you saw Airing's tweet that he put out, where he was just like been the most Tarkov of any clip ever. And he's basically on woods using the new green flare exfil, and he fires it off and he runs out of bounds. There's no sniper doesn't shoot or whatever.
Okay.
And then the screen goes black. There's no extraction timer or anything, but the screen just goes black, like as if it's the end of the raid. And it goes dun dun. It goes to the screen, and it's just like 1 HP run over by the BTR.
No way!
Literally, like in the somehow in the app, but it didn't. His character didn't even die. So like the fact that BTR's, I don't know. It's just the whole thing's just super weird. I don't even understand how that even happened.
Like no
really
audio,
weird.
I'm guessing of like
no audio, nothing. It was like he extracted without the extraction timer, but actually he dead instead.
The new and improved flare extract, it's instant.
It's a BTR exfil under the tracks. But when I played, I was running around the scav just trying to find PSUs, and just passively, and I did actually hear the BTR in the background. So it's back, at least. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it.
I didn't even know it could be invisible. So like that's great, because there was times I was trying to do the Hot Wheels quest. It's like, oh, there's no BTR here. Turns out
the 80% chance my ass is like, it's just invisible, roaming around the map, just killing people without the ghost BTR.
You just see some PMC in like a sitting position, just like floating across the road. It's like, that guy's hacking. No, he's just riding the BTR.
Yeah, crazy stuff. So that's back. I mean, I guess it's because it's only on 2 of the maps as well. I've not played much woods in the streets. Played a little bit of streets, but not really much woods. So anyway, apparently that's back. They have this is a nice one. Fix the possibility of receiving double damage if the bullet penetrates the integrated neck armor and body armor. So there you go. The video maybe helped.
Yeah, that sounds like a really sophisticated bug. Like, if only someone could provide a detailed explanation of it. I'm glad we got to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that it's fixed. I hope that the video gave them enough information that someone actually went and like did the work and figured out what it was. You know, so
God, I would love to
there
know
we
if my
go.
theory was right or not.
I know it'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they need to do a separate post, like, and now here's the actual here's the answers to the questions you have about these particular bugs. You know.
This is why this happened. Then we have got the good old updated Nvidia DLSS to version 4. So we talked about this last last week, about the or maybe even the week before, about the controversy of DLSS 4, the update, the transformer model, all of this stuff, and people saying, BSG didn't want people swapping out DLLs, which fair enough, I understand, that's fine. But then people were then worried about doing stuff in the Nvidia control panel, like forcing preset K, which is the latest one. So they apparently have updated to DLSS 4 from DLSS 2, because apparently it isn't actually that hard. However, the problem is supposedly, and I've only just gone off what I've read around on the internet. I've not like looked at this myself, but apparently if you use one of the kind of visualizers where it shows you what version you're running or whatever, like, yes, it's running DLSS 4, but it's running one of the older presets. So the reason why people were making a big song and dance about this preset K is that it's a different model for how the upscaling works in DLSS preset K, which is the latest one. Whereas apparently the one that is in place at the moment for DLSS is preset D, which is like 3 years old. So
yeah, which is basically what we're using, just also an older actual
So
software.
I mean, I hope, like, I'm not an expert on this, but the analogy to me that I think has happened, and do correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it's like, we've moved from DLSS Windows XP to DLSS Windows 11, but we're still running Word 95.
Yeah,
it's like just because we updated the OS, like we updated the OS, so we have the capacity to do better stuff, but we're still running, Word 95, because we actually need to update, to the new preset. Otherwise, it's just going to look the same as it did. So, from what everybody said online, you basically just keep the preset K on using the Nvidia control panel. You don't have to do any funny business with swapping over files or anything. You can just turn preset K on by going into your Nvidia settings or the Nvidia app. I think it's not a control panel, but it's in the Nvidia app. And then you go to Tarkov, and then you go on the DLSS bit, and then you put it into latest. There's like a few guides out. There's some guides on YouTube, some guides on Reddit if you want to go and see how to do that. So just keep that on for the time being. Like it's in the Nvidia app, so like they can't really do it. Right? If they don't want people doing that, then they're gonna have to get Nvidia to specifically ban it, like they did with Reshade. So yeah, apparently it is up to date, but the preset needs to be swapped over before everybody can use it without touching anything, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's a step forwards. That's fine. I don't mind. So it's a step forwards. It's okay. It would be very BSG just to do nothing and just keep it on DLSS 2. So the fact that they've done it, at least a bit, and now they could be prodded into putting it onto preset K, that'll be better. I mean, I guess the only thing that they might consider is that with some older tech, preset K can actually reduce your performance a bit.
Yeah.
It's on GPU, so it doesn't matter as much. But yeah, it's not quite as efficient, even though the quality is a lot better. So I mean, I don't know, it's pretty much a slam dunk to upgrade it, I believe, because you can just downgrade the quality to performance or something if you want to, and it's as good as quality was in the old transformer model. But maybe that's what they're thinking about. They want to do some tests or whatever. I don't know, or it could just be incompetence. I've no idea. I've literally got no idea.
I mean, I think
we're making steps forwards. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. That's for me. That's the big takeaway. Is like, BSG is kind of like the seal approval from the big man himself, and also screw you, Discord mod Tom. I was right. You were wrong. No, I'm kidding. Because there was some, differences of opinions on. I think it's got a little heated on the EFT Discord servers of some of the moderators. Because I mean,
yeah,
as we said, like modifying DSL files, it's kind of a no. But so people aren't really up to date on the bleeding edge of DLSS and whatnot. So it's understandable, but I'm just glad
Mhm.
it's kind of like it's fine or not.
Yep.
Everything's fine.
So along with that, they allowed you to do, it says, fix the operation of VSync together with NVIDIA Reflex if they were enabled sequentially. Incorrect display of group member after spawning. Oh, the incorrect operation of the Cyclone Shakin thermal scope. This is one of the Russian thermals, I think, that apparently wasn't working. I think it only worked in the hideout or something, and it didn't work in raid. But supposedly they fixed it. I genuinely not even used it. Some people were
Oh,
asking me about it, and I was like, I've not even used this thermal.
I haven't either, but I know what it is. It's that big green looking one. Like it's new. There's like you have to get a special mount for it. Kind of like how the Vulcan operates. You gotta get a special mount, and then you attach this big, giant, green-looking scope. Like it's not even scopes; it's like a box with like a circle plopped onto it. It's pretty
Yeah,
sure it's from Russia, judging by the looks of it and the fact that it's sold by Bradford. But
3.7 times thermal scope.
yeah, it's like
Apparently,
the you know Russian version of the what was the other scope that I was just describing that has like night vision built into it that just requires a mount? Vulcan. It's like the Russian version of the
oh yeah,
Vulcan. Very early gen
yeah, something
thermal.
like that.
Yeah.
I've not even used it though. Like, where'd you get it? Oh, you could just barter it from Frapple. 5 flash drives and 2 maps.
Yeah, it's a little,
I've not seen it though. Is it any good?
I don't know. I never used it. It's one of it's because it's so like complicated. Like well, the nice thing about if you're gonna do a night raid, right? It's like you got a bunch of different options. You got poor man's raid where you just bring in a flashlight and a gun. Then you got like okay, I'm gonna slap on some cheap NVGs. I'm gonna slap on the nice NVGs, and then you got like the weird options, which is like I'm gonna run a flashlight and also a scope with an NVG with night vision or thermal onto it. And then maybe I'll have like backup NVGs. Like you do like these weird combos, and it's like you do them both together. Like you can't have the flashlight on and the NVGs on and looking through the thermal scope, right? Like that combination doesn't work. So you have to like
Yeah.
mess about with the different things to get them all sync up. And hopefully you don't mess that up during a firefight because that would be very bad. But the nice thing about the Vulcan is that you can attach like a an aim point or a delta point on top. It has like an actual built-in uh, receiver for a mount for the little scope. So you can do like a kind of like how the Bravo or the hammer works. So then
Yeah.
you can look down for night vision scope, and then you got your red dot. Um, so, but yeah, this doesn't have that. The Cyclone one. So, because we were looking at options, or at one point we were doing night shoreline, killing scavs at night, doing tasks,
Mm.
and I thought about it, but I was like, you know, very expensive trade, and also, you know, don't want to make things too complicated.
Yeah, this one's not actually that pricey. Like, because flash drives don't really have much use now, so that they're about 20k maybe. And that's
Yeah.
probably inflated because people are probably trying this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about like 100, and then the maps. So maybe it's like 150k. It's not that expensive at all. I'm literally just like loading into a factory raid just to try and see what it looks like. Because
Oh
even though
yeah.
people could use it in the hideout before, you obviously can't see what targets look like.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
quite
for
it's
sure.
quite big on the screen, which is
Okay.
kind of nice.
What kind of? Are we
Um,
talking like black and white, thermal?
It looks. It's. I mean, it's very. It's like. I think it's gonna be black hot. I think
Okay.
when I see it looks a bit like the Flare, but like bigger on the physical monitor. That's sort
Okay.
of how it looks. I'm trying to find an enemy. I put it onto as not. Maybe I should put it on horde mode or something. Has a problem with destroying your PC though. Usually that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you may not want to
Um,
crash your crash your computer.
yeah, it's just very very white most of the time. So that's. I'll just wander around, and then eventually some scouts will spawn. I'm sure on this raid. And then
Someone says it's
I'll tell you.
teal. Maybe the heat
Well, the
indicators
color of the
are
actual
teal.
scope, or the
Oh, not sure.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, well, I'll find some scouts in a minute. So, what is next on the list of things they did? So they have done. They fixed the incorrect display of large size items in the special slots, and we'll take a small side note out here. It doesn't say on this in particular, but they did add one hidden thing. I was like kind of excited they like changed a load of stuff, but I think it looks so far that it's just this. They've changed it so that the special slots you can now put in any of the flares and also the flare pistol. So you can use the flare pistol now instead of a flare, and it like when you die, it won't go away. So they go in the same slots as the markers and cameras and all of that stuff.
Yeah, because that was like the weirdest thing about the flare pistol. It's like you had to barter these ridiculous components for it if you wanted to use it, and then you die once and someone loots it off your body. You know?
Yeah, it is cheaper now than it was, but yeah, it's still not ideal. Oh, it's actually kind of ghetto. This thing. It's like it's white hot on a white background. It's like, I mean, you can tell.
Yeah.
But it's not that obvious.
Might be okay if you go in to a raid at night, obviously, and maybe.
I mean, to be fair, I'm doing this in the day, but
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe if like the rest of the screen is basically pitch black, and then in the center you got all white, might not be too bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
Okay. Fix the display of shooting targets in the hideout. Fix the generator notification after visiting a friend's hideout. Fix the display of prestige dog tags in the Hall of Fame. Fix display of posters in stash level 2 and 3. Fix hideout customization items. Be moved to other slots if there's no room. This is a big one. Fix the uneven output of extracts on woods, where players were given the outskirts exfil more often than others. So it makes more sense now in terms of use. I guess if you spawn probably up by like USEC camp area, anywhere around there, you're probably not giving outskirts anymore. Like it did feel before that 80% of the extracts were just Yeah,
I'm glad they made that change, because it's like you always had outskirts, and it made sometimes it's just like kind of inconvenient. It makes sense. So yeah, I'm glad for that. Plus, then it like funneled everyone through there, so it's just like the chances of you running into a, in quotation marks, extract camper, is just like kind of spike. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna sit here and kill a few scavs. Oh, look, little PMC walking to an extract. What do you have?
Yeah, so that's nice. A couple of tasks that have had the objective areas expanded. So return the favor, which is a Lightkeeper task. Let me just remind myself which one this is. I think it might be the woods one, because that one's really annoying. Yeah, okay. Eliminate 15 PMC operatives around the mountain area on woods. So that's got bigger. That's like one of the biggest gripes that people have with it. The only thing about this is that we won't really know what that means. Maybe it's now much more the middle of the map, because the wiki right now has it going basically all of the low ground around the mountain, including the start of the spine rock, a bit over the road. So it is quite big. So I mean, if it's even bigger than that, then that'd be quite good. I mean, I just think those quests are just fundamentally flawed. But anyway, safe corridor. Which one's that one?
Oh,
that sounds like one of the ones I actually have. Safe corridor is that's eliminate scavs in the underground warehouse on reserve.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last one is Huntsman Path Secured Perimeter, which is PMCs in the office. I think some people were saying before that certain areas just didn't seem to be working in that one.
Which makes sense because they reworked the map.
Yeah. So now that's a bit bigger again, which is good. I'm happy with that. Multiple gear and clothing combinations added that were causing clipping. They fixed that. Fixed display of ammo in the A12's 8-round mag. Incorrect camera behavior when quick reloading the Uzi with a 25-round mag. It's like some weird stuff. Fixed the Lantac BMD A3 adapter compatibility for the Mark 47 409mm barrel. So you can now go loud and proud on the big mutant again, which is kind of cool. So if you want a big, boomy, loud gun with decent recoil, you don't just need to use the short Mark 47 anymore, which is kind of neat. I've been using the Lantac BMD on some of the 7.62 NATO guns, and like it's so much fun. I love going unsuppressed. I really do. I think it's so. I don't know. It's just
it's such
great.
An alpha Chad gamer moment, It's like I'm unsuppressed.
Yeah, I don't even care that you know where I am.
Exactly.
That's like
exactly.
Like I don't even care.
Yeah.
I'm adding to the raid ambiance. I'm doing you all a favor.
Boom, boom, boom. come get me. You know?
Yeah. No, it's great. It really is great. Fixed interconnect visual recall for RPD and RPDN when using a bipod. I'm not actually sure what that was. And then fixed display of ammo in PMAG 21 round GL9 magazine.
Thank God, the game was
So
literally unplayable.
unplayable. I'm not even sure which one that goes into. Is that like a?
I think that's
like a 9mm mag or
I
something?
mean, I'm kind of ashamed that I know this, but I think it's one of the Glock X magazines. Or is it the
Yeah,
regular?
it's like a 9mm like Glock or something.
Yeah, or is it actually? I can't remember. Actually, no. Actually, that's an older one. I think
it is. It's a Glock. Yeah, GL9 21 rounder. It's a Glock. I think. Is it? Maybe it's kind of new. I don't know. Is it one of the newer ones? But anyway, this is good. There's quite a few nice things in here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite pleased. But yeah, the flare gun thing is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I thought that they should do this for ages, but I wasn't thinking about the next level on being, well, now that we can use it, what do we actually do with this thing?
Mm-hmm.
It's on Jaeger 3. There's actually 2. You could buy one from Ref. There's PM pistol, TT pistol, and Eagle gunpowder, and you can get the signal pistol. So this could go in special slot now. And then linked search ammo, you can buy a yellow flare from Jaeger. You can buy the green flare from Ref for 2 GP coins. I don't know why you would. Or you can buy a green flare cartridge from Jaeger for an Aquapeps. But Aquapeps go for about 20k.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only one that seems like actually good is that you can buy another Ref one, is that you can buy the red flare for 20 GP coins. So you can buy the call in an airdrop flare from Ref and use that in raid and bring down an airdrop if you so wish. I mean, the green flare, it's more expensive.
Oh, that's true. I think about
just
the red
green
flares.
flare on its own, which is a bit strange because a green flare is like 6k, and that can go in the special slot as well.
So
I'm kind of surprised that they did it this way around. That the green flares can also go in there because now the signal pistol is still kind of pointless. My idea for this was put the signal pistol in the special slot.
Mm-hmm.
And then make the green flares like 20k or something, and make the signal pistol flare like 5k.
I mean, you do make an interesting point because, I mean, the ammo. It's like if you wanted to bring a red, green, and blue, let's say for example, because isn't the blue the mortar one? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right, because you got 3 special slots, so you could do that, or you could bring. And here's a couple different options. You could bring 3 different pistols, flare pistols of the 3 different colors in the cartridges, assuming they have those exist. I don't know if they have a pistol cartridge for the blue flare, for example, but whatever.
No, not that I've seen.
Yeah, so that's.
Well, they might be finding raid only.
But even that aside, let's say you just did just the pistol thing. Then you have to have each of the ammo for the cartridges, which I presume you can't put into the special slots. You could probably put them into the gun, but that makes it even less appealing because then if you die, they're gonna loot the ammo, so you have to restock on the ammo.
Yeah. Where did the ammo go? I just bought one. I actually have I have a pistol already. I have one of the signal pistols just lying around because I never usually get rid of them.
Yeah, normally. Me neither. It's because you know why. It's because you're worried about the quest, right? There's going to be a quest.
Of course.
Yeah, obviously.
There's going to be a quest or an event where you're going to need to use it. So the ammo can't go in the special slot.
Yeah.
As you might imagine, which is fine. That's okay. I'm not bothered about that.
Well.
But so the ammo goes in the gun goes in the special slot.
But then it just makes well, why? I'm still never going to use the pistol cartridge, right?
Because the green flare, and it's like the pistol is 600 grams. The green flare is 0.19. So the fact that the green, the reason why you'd want to use the pistol is because you've got a green flare in the pistol, and that's in the special slot. Whereas if you take a real green flare with you, it has to go in your bag or your rig or something. So you're would I pay?
Well, no, you can just put it in your slot.
Would I pay 14k? Yeah. But this is the thing: if you couldn't put the green flares in the slot, but you can put the
Oh,
regular
I
green flare in
see.
the
I see what
slot.
you're
So it makes
saying.
it a moot point. I don't know. Like, I don't know why the green flare can go in the special slot. It should just be the pistol.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't.
I
I don't get
mean,
it. I don't.
yeah,
Anyway,
I
whatever.
definitely understand where you're coming from. I almost feel like another fun route would be, keep it as is, but give like a special cartridge. It's like, it's like a TNT brick mounted onto the onto the end of it. Like you just, and it's like you get one shot, the gun blows up, and whatever you impact blows up.
Yeah. That would be pretty good. I mean, you raised an interesting point though. All of the cartridges for the flare gun do 37 damage.
What's its pin? What's the overheat stats? Come on, let's pull up the wiki. Let's crunch the numbers here.
Exactly. No, I don't know. I imagine the pen is 0. I would guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, 37. I mean, if you hit someone in the eyes or jaws and they're not wearing condoms or something like that, then you should be able to kill them. Then, well, what's the damage drop off though, Treasure? And what's the maximum distance at which you can
Yeah. What's the muzzle?
shot PMC?
What's the ballistics calculation like?
Exactly. What's the muzzle velocity? Does it have a speed on it? It's only 80 meters per second, so the slowdown is going to be negligible. This thing probably flies for all eternity.
I don't know. It might require. Do you have two of them? I know. You mean, well, you might be worried. What if the quest that we're predicting inevitably is instead of one found in raid pistol cartridge, it's now two.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you have two, take one in the raid and experiment. See, maybe. I don't know. I doubt.
The cool thing about this is that it does mean that you can just always keep a flare in your special slot, so you never
Yeah.
suddenly go, "Oh, I don't have one."
Which is
it can be part of your
nice.
kind of your pre-kit, which is pretty
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just tried firing it in the hideout.
What happened?
I'm just trying to understand. Well, it just lit a flare up in the middle of my shooting range. Trying to see. Oh, yeah, I mean, it will go to the back actually. I mean, 80 meters per second at close range doesn't matter that much.
I mean, you know what? It maybe. Okay, hear me out. You play night raids. You bring a flare, pistol flare, right? Because it arms faster. Like you can deploy it faster. You bind it on a key, right? Hang on now, I'm cooking.
Yeah.
You're in a firefight. You're like strategic flare, and you fire a flare at their side. Maybe you're battling kind of in a distant area. Now all of a sudden their NVGs are screwed. They can't see. Hang on a minute. I'm cooking up a
You shoot him with
strategy.
a flare. Huh. Maybe there's a way. Maybe there's a way.
Yeah, maybe.
If you shoot it right in front of yourself, it does actually just go off on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
You can just shoot it down. It's a lot faster than doing the actually, in fairness, being able to pull it out and just into the air, that's actually significantly better than the
right.
thing
Plus,
that
you
have to
have
do
the
with the other one.
weird angling that I'm always like, I forget the exact angle of it. Because you don't have the indicator. You just gotta kind of if you look straight up, it's gonna go backwards. if you don't look straight, if you just look forward, it's gonna go at a weird arc where it might not. I'm always scared it's not gonna go high enough to hit whatever invisible zone that triggers a safe X.
Yeah. You could buy a really cheap yellow pistol flare. So that's the one that I'm using in the minute. But you could just take that in with you and just shoot it at somebody.
I mean, is it would you say it's moderately effective at day even? At blinding someone?
I don't know. I wouldn't say so, not in the day.
Okay, so no
a flashlight
factory
is
runs.
way more powerful.
Okay. I just was curious, to think of a little goofy
yeah, maybe
raid.
you gotta you shoot it at someone, you just stick it to their thorax, and they're just stuck with this thing glowing like crazy.
I'm saying, strats here, we're cooking them up.
I'm just about to test if you just shoot it directly up in the air, does that actually do what it's supposed to? Because then you'd have to worry about the angle, which is quite nice. So if you run outside, like I'm going to do now, I'm just going to ground zeros, just run outside, point it directly up, and pew! Does that actually work? Oh, it does work. Yeah, so you'd have to worry about the angle at all. It's much faster to deploy. Because I mean, the flare exfils are pretty. I don't know. they're quite like squeaky butt time, you know, almost
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
especially the one on streets. Interesting.
Huh.
Interesting.
That was
Okay.
probably my,
Well, there you go. So you can kill somebody with it in theory if you shoot them in the head.
mhm.
Some people have been saying, even on Twitter, because I posted it on Twitter that you could put these things in there. People are talking on there about like, oh, you could take three pistol. You got basically 3 pistols. Each one has got 37 damage for free. You know, you never lose them until you fire them. It's like
I mean, it's kind
maybe
of
you can
funny.
use 0 to hero. Should we do 0 to hero? But it's just like
Oh, the
you get
ultimate.
the pistol. You get the pistol with the yellow flare, like one yellow flare in the pistol, and you never lose it. So that's like your starting gear. Just you get one shot, one yellow flare shot. That beats the melee, right? The melee weapons are really annoying for 0 to hero. You get one shot to shoot a scav in the face or something.
I see what you're saying.
With
It's
the flare
not,
gun.
yeah, an extra tool in the arsenal.
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of dig it.
It's more of a curiosity, I guess, in general, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. Okay, so I think that's the big patch. I don't think there's anything else in there at the moment. I don't think there's any other big updates for that in particular. The other big, well, I guess, thing that's been going on is the Scav survey. So they put out another poll, which is nice. Welcome. Not one that people have really been talking about, but something that I guess has been bandied around in the community for a while. People, the topic of scavs and player scavs in particular, and when they spawn and how they should spawn and which maps they should be able to spawn on and at what time they should spawn and all of this stuff. That does crop up relatively often. So BSG have kind of responded to that and made a poll about that. That I think you get like you get 6 or 7 ES lamps for completing it. So it's like well worth doing. Because as a reminder, you need 111 of those currently to finish off the hideout. So yeah, it's definitely good. So the current questions are aimed at gathering additional player feedback to improve Scav gameplay. So the first set of questions: what game mode do you play? Well, obviously, I put PvP. What is your approximate PMC to Scav raid ratio? Now, I would consider myself mostly a PMC player, but I do play relatively often, just in the background on Scav. I don't play serious raids, but I play them relatively often. So I was just intrigued as to what my breakdown is. So I've played 241 PMC raids this wipe and 100 Scav raids. And my Scav raids are a lot shorter, and I survive a lot more often. And for this wipe, actually, mostly what I've been doing is trying to find PSUs. Try and get the Bitcoin farm working. And it's weird, actually. Bitcoin farm level 2 is very straightforward, it turns out. You just need enough PSUs. The Bitcoin farm 1 is annoying because you need a VPX. But Bitcoin farm level 2 is literally, I guess it's the 2 military power filters that's annoying, but you get those from some quests as well.
Yeah.
And I've been getting them progressively from the cult circle. But yeah, other than that, it's like 15 CPU fans, which is no problem, printed circuit boards, relay, which could be a bit sticky, but then 10 PSUs, another 10. Like you've just found 10, now you need to find another 10, and that's the biggest problem for that. But I have 8, slowly but surely crawling my way to the 10. But yeah, so I mean, I'm still mostly PMC player. Then, should players still have the choice to select raid time and location when playing as a scav? First proper question. So the options being, yes, it makes scav gameplay more convenient. No, playing as a scav needs to be a random gameplay element. Or C, cannot answer. Now, I still think it would be good for it to be a bit more randomized. I still think that like scav is it's like Tarkov social security, you know, when you're at rock bottom.
Yeah.
And
No, it really is, though.
you got nothing else. That's kind of what Scav is for. Obviously, also for playing the game in a different way, playing it in a more chill way. It's good to have an outlet for that as well. But broadly speaking, it's Tarkov social security. So I mean, I put no playing as a Scav needs to be a random gameplay element, and I don't know. I'm impartial between 2 different ideas that I've seen around. Like the main one is make the Scav map random. I'm like, yes, with the caveat that you probably need to veto 2 maps. You'd like, they have the ability to veto 2 maps. You don't have to, but some people literally can't play streets. So if they get loaded into streets, like their Tarkov will crash when that happens. So you need the ability. If you're going to make it purely random, people need the ability to veto 2 maps because streets and maybe lighthouse or something. It also gives you the ability to remove maps that you really don't want to play on, 2 at least. But it probably, I don't know. I think it probably is better. yes, there's the argument of like new players. It's scavenging on the map really helps. But we have PvE now. So if you're like really, really new and you're struggling on a map, whatever, you can play it on PvE or even just play it on offline or something. I guess I know it's not quite the same, but playing as player scav is also not quite the same either.
Yeah.
So
I mean, plus, I would say too, like if you're gonna play the game, presumably you're gonna play PMZ at some point, and if you're gonna play that, the game's gonna ask you to go to various locations, and you're gonna want to learn the map. And what better way to learn the map than as a scav? So, like, I mean, like at some point, if you keep playing long enough, you're gonna have to play the other maps to keep progressing. Doing the quests. I don't know. To me, it's like it's an inevitable thing, but yeah, player choice is always nice. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, the other option that I have seen not as commonly because it's slightly more nuanced, but I also think it's a cool idea, and I think I mentioned it here previously, is the concept of you get 3 maps as a pool and you pick one.
Oh, that's kind of
so
neat.
It's like a draft,
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
drafts you 3 maps out of the how many maps we have now? 10, and then you choose the map that you want. So that would be better. You'd like randomly get like, reserve woods customs, and it's like, okay, well, out of the 3, I guess I'll probably play this one. And that might help. I mean, yeah, Ash saying in chat actually, by not allowing a choice of map, you could probably manage the scav queue better actually as well, which might stop the whole like 15-30 minute like not being able to get into a game at the beginning of wipe kind of situation.
I mean,
but
I look at the question. Doesn't really specify the intended direction or like what they're hinting at. I guess like if they're just saying should players still have the choice to select the raid time and location when playing as a scav, and it's like, I mean, I would say, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I know people are like saying, oh, scav's OP, take away the map choice, and then also bring up a point like, and also you faster queues like, presumably, and depending on which one you're trying to do, I guess I feel like it's better geared one way or the other. Like, in other words, if you wanted to, like, there's other ways to nerf scav that don't revolve around just putting everyone in a one big pool and taking away the map choice. Because it would suck to be like, dang, I only play customs. Like, this is the only map I know. I'm down to like my last AK mag and a bottle of 30 out of 60 water. I desperately need some gear. Let me get. Oh, I'm on streets. How do I? I'm moving at 15 FPS. Where's the extract? Please, you know what I mean? That would suck. So I do like. It's like I would say for me personally, nerf scav a different way, but also give us like a prior. Like if there's like 2 options, like option A normal queue, and then it takes you to the regular map screen, and then option B priority queue, and you just like boom, you're in. It's like throws you in the matchmaker. The first map you get, it's probably gonna be factory 90% of the time, but whatever. The first map you get, the first, you're like, your queues are like the longest part is loading the map, basically. Because God, you know how like wipe day comes around, it's like you can forget playing Scav on reserve unless you want to be there for like 10+ minutes. Scav on streets. I mean, now it's probably Scav on streets, actually. Reserve's probably gone down. It's probably more like a 5-minute queue because everyone's trying to go to streets. And yeah, it's like, God, I just want to like get into a map that's like, and then customs is always busting, interchange. I mean, White Day is always going to be like that, but
yeah.
I would like a fast queue because sometimes it's like, yeah, if a scav's on cooldown, I just want to burn it real quick because X, Y, and Z got some time to kill. And factory, I can do factory run throughs till my mind melts, but it would be nice to have some other sometimes it's nice to not think church 2025.
Yeah, it does feel like the scav life is, it almost feels like it's too sort of metagamed a little bit.
Yeah
in that extent.
I think that's
which
fair.
The randomization would get rid of it a bit, because it's like, I target farm stuff on, I know some people just abuse the crap out of Lighthouse, right? Like scav is a million times easier on Lighthouse than it is on PMC, because you could just walk around with rogue camp and all that stuff. Like same thing with reserve, right? The extracts for PMC are really hard on reserve, while on scav they're really straightforward.
Yeah. But see,
Streets is a doddle playing as a scav because like half the map's on your side.
yeah, I mean, like specifically for Lighthouse, I would say I don't know if that's a. I feel like that's more of a Lighthouse issue and not a I have player agency issue. You know what I mean?
15-minute segue onto how much we hate Lighthouse. No, I'm kidding.
I was going through because sometimes on my feed I'll get recommended shorts of your videos, um, and I was going through your catalog. It's like to see numbers and statistics, what people are saying. Stuff still interests me, and God, I was the two that come to mind. One was yeah, I think it was Lighthouse actually. You're like playing Lighthouse. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna. What are we gonna do here? And then you get one tapped, and you basically like break. Like you break, get like the you snap and you just go insane. You're like, ah! And then like you come back to reality. You know, it's like you lost it. You're like,
Yeah.
God, I hate this map. It's just perfect summary of Tarkov Lighthouse. And then the other one that was hilarious was the 7 and 40 video you did some time ago where you talked about like
Oh yeah.
recoil and I watched it and then I look at the top comment and then someone says load in the rain died instantly. That's the most
Yeah, 15 minutes of intricate mag packing for the perfect recoil reduction and then die straight away.
I love it. One of my favorite Tarkov experiences that only other Tarkov gamers get.
Oh man, it's so true though.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it needs to be more randomized, but I'm nervous of making it suck for people. Like I don't want. That's the thing. I don't want BSC to just make it suck for making people's lives miserable on purpose for no real reason, right? It's like just to kind of prevent Scav just becoming autopilot, super easy. You know, it's at the moment. For example, if I want to go and find PSUs, it's probably 3 times as effective for me to play it on Scav than it is on my PMC.
Yeah,
something like that. So it's like it's overpowered for certain elements of like target farming and that kind of thing. Whereas it's still a very good tool for new players. I mean, outside of this quiz, it's not really mentioned in here, but I'm still a big I don't know. I vouch for the idea that the scav timer thing should be the other way around. You know, if you're under level 5, you should basically get scav as much as you want, pretty much.
Yeah,
and then
because
as you go up levels,
as far as Scav Karma goes, right? Or are you talking actual PMC level?
Just literally, just as your PMC level goes up, I just think you should
okay.
be able to scav less. I mean, it just that people don't need that extra crutch at the beginning. Like the people who need that extra crutch are the like casual guys, and like they also kind of makes it a bit better. Right? There's nothing more scary than like someone who's level 42 playing their scav on like reserve or streets or something.
Honestly,
because they're good. Like I've fought people before as my player scav, right? And it's it's like terrifying because you're just like, this guy's like kitted out, he's going to lose all this stuff. He's probably got some loot as well, or whatever. I've literally just spawned in with nothing to lose. I've got some funny like HP ammo or whatever. I can just like run around. I'm light as well. I'm not carrying anything. I don't care about what I've got on me. It's like zero risk, everything to loot, everything to gain. And I know how to play as well. So and that's the thing. If you tilted it the other way, you'd have more player scavs that would be newer and like less experienced as well. It's more of like the horde kind of mentality that you're going for. Like no one really wants to be hunted down by like crack team scav. You know, it's the group of, as I said, the group of like guys who are just about to prestige, but they're looking for the evasion armband or something.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm a big fan of that, but anyway, it's kind of outside the scope of this.
Yeah, but it is related though, because presumably that's why they're taking this feedback and some of these questions feel a bit targeted towards that. Like I know the random map thing's been floated a few times. I think Clean specifically has mentioned it as a way to like balance out that metagaming that you're describing.
Yeah. So I think something there, like the pool thing, where you pick a map of 3 would be kind of cool, or veto or something. But anyway. Next question: when should player scav spawn on the location? So as soon as the raid starts, 5 to 10 minutes after, 10 to 15 after, 15 to 20, near the end of the raid after 20 plus minutes, or I'm fine with the current spawn system. I put 15 to 20. Like on most maps, when they start at 40 or 45 minutes, that means that you wouldn't be in until like 25, 30, sort of something like that. I mean, if you get a clear 15, 20 minutes at the beginning, I mean, that probably is actually similar to how it is now, honestly. It is kind of similar. I just don't think people should be spawning any earlier than that. Like quite often on streets at the minute, I was spawning in with like 36 minutes left on the clock or something, and I'm like, actually, when does streets start? Streets 50.
Yeah, isn't it like 45 or
Streets
50?
is a 50 start. I think Streets is a 50 start. I can't quite remember. I think it's 50. Yeah, apparently it is 50. So yeah, so I've like spawned in. I often spawn in with 14 minutes, 18 minutes into the raid, which is it's quite early given how slowly you have to move as PMC normally through the map. Right? You have to carve your way through Streets of Tarkov. It feels a lot of the time. Whereas when you're playing as a scav and I'm playing as a scav, you can path in all sorts of weird places. And I've realized actually, which it makes sense. If you think about the heat map of where PMCs would go, it's all the really tight places through corridors, post office building, up at like the pharmacy bit outside the theater, like all of the back corridors. Klimov Trading Center, Pinewood Hotel. It's all of these places that are inside where the angles are more limited. You're not just being shot at by scavs. If you take that heat map and you just invert it the other way around, that's where it's safe to run as scav. So when I'm playing scav, I just run straight down Klimov Street half the time, but obviously under the cover of Pinewood. But I like run straight down Klimov Street. I like run through the middle section because there's very rarely any PMCs there. And because there's no PMCs there, PMCs also don't camp those locations either because they never see anybody else. They don't care about killing player scavs. They normally are trying to get Shootborn in Heaven done. So typically people will camp things like relaxation room, looking down towards the theatre, or the theatre itself, looking at like real estate building, rooms outside of Check 15, looking into Lexos, stuff like this, right? The places where PMCs are actually going to be. So if you're running around in places where PMCs aren't going to be, you're just there with the rest of the regular scav AI army. And normally you could just run around completely free. It's like if you like quite often I'll spawn over by theatre and finish the map over in the Camcat near Camcatcher Arch one in the museum thing, and that's literally the other side of the map, and it doesn't take me that long to get from one side of the map to the other because Streets is a big map, but it's not as big as it feels on PMC when you can just sprint from one side to the other. Like on PMC, you have to fight tooth and nail to get through every corner, every building. There's all sorts. There's just stuff and then the scouts, like as soon as you kill one, there's like 15 of them coming at you. It's just like it's an endless slog to get to the other side. It's hard to get from one side to the other. Whereas on PlayerScav, you can get there in about 6 minutes. You can just run. So that's why I think that on certain locations, I do think that the scouts should spawn a bit later on, especially on streets. Just to you should have some time left. It shouldn't spawn you like it used to, where you've got like you spawn in, it's already red time. It's like 8 minutes to go or something like that. That definitely used to happen. I need to change. But these days, it feels like you spawn a bit too early. I think you could probably spawn like with 20 minutes to go. I think there should be a bit of time pressure. You shouldn't be able to feel like you could just wander around and loot whatever. But I think that gives PMCs a chance, and PMCs should get first dibs. They really should, just because of the risk reward and the way the game works. In my opinion.
I was gonna say there's some weird stuff with like early wipe queues and map scav priority because like clockwork on interchange. If you go interchange early wipe, it's like scavs will spawn like 44 minutes into the raid inside the mall, like right outside of the tech store with the GPU lying on the counter. Like it's so annoying. That to me feels a little extreme. But I don't know. Like in theory, part of me likes the idea of as soon as the raid starts, player scavs can spawn in because then it adds like a extra level of tension. It's like, okay, there's scavs there, but like, is that an AI scav or is that a player scav? Because as you said, sometimes the player scavs, especially, God, we were playing one raid one time and like my buddy shot at a scav or something. Turns out it was a player scav, and he got hit or something, and he was basically, long and short of it, he was like, well, that guy's kind of cracked. He was like, fast leaning, peeking. It's like you can imagine it's just like some stockless AK scav, no headset, ball cap, and looking for his armband. He just gets shot at, and he was like, oh, time to engage, gamer mode activated. Just doing all the gamers. Fast sprinting as a scav back and forth through the corridor, looking down the hallway, doing all the chat stuff. It's like, oh God, wait, I'm sorry, I take it back. So I don't know. Part of me is like, I would love to play against that because sometimes, man, the scav like AI would be more annoying than like a player could possibly be because the AI. But at the same time, I wouldn't want it to be. It's like if you were gonna do that, then maybe we got to do like a change where level 40s aren't going to be spamming scav to get free gear off PMCs. You know what I mean? Like do the thing you were suggesting also. Like as you level up, your timer gets longer. Once you're level 50, like you have like a 1 hour timer. It's like, you've basically been banned from your wealth is far exceeded. No longer can you abuse the welfare of the Tarkov state. The Scav
Yeah,
nation. Let's cut you off.
yeah, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I just think it should be shorter for new players. I don't really care what happens to experienced players because most of them will just play PMC anyway.
Yeah, that's
But I just think it should be really short for new players. You should probably get like a moratorium on scav timer cooldown up until level 5 or 10 or something.
And I mean, to be fair, I know some people like playing a lot of scav, like even in the higher levels, like they'll still enjoy playing scav. Which I can understand. They're probably not like SEAL Team 6 Alpha Chat gamer, but I don't know. It's like
how do you do that then? Yeah, how do you do that then? You keep the system as it is now, except you just make it up to level 5 or something. It like slowly scales up to where it is today, at base. Because it's long, it's like 20 minutes or something at base. And make that the level 10 pointer. So it's like, okay, well you get some scav raids for free at the start, and then after level 10 you got to do the progression like everyone else does.
Okay,
like
yeah.
That would be like
that's actually kind of nice.
That would be like how it is now, but better.
Yeah.
So it's like that's
you're not taking
better.
away anything.
You're not changing anything.
I mean that's a good idea, honestly. Like that's worthy of a write that down.
The only thing that I can see an issue with that is
you don't play your anybody until you need it.
Nobody will probably you just don't play your PMC at all until you farmed like certain specific items as scav. Like maybe that kind of thing. Like you go in and
but even then, that's like you're gonna have to boot up the PMC to progress, and if they don't, is that even a bad thing?
And I guess if the maps are randomized in some fashion as well, then you can't target farm like you would be able to. So that idea then works so long as the maps are randomized in some way.
But even if you wanted to target farm, you can only target farm so much. Like at some point, you're gonna have to get rid. I don't really think that's. And what's the worst that could happen? Someone plays scav too much. Like, what does that actually?
Yeah, they just. Well, nothing really. They just play Lighthouse a billion times and they get their vertexes and whatever like early with like no respawn time. But I guess it doesn't really matter because like they're in late as well. They're in like in 20 minutes time. They're not there straight away. Yeah, maybe it's not a problem actually.
I mean, I don't know if it's a big enough issue because like I'm sure there's always going to be those people who are like, they want to squeeze as much juice as possible out of the system. Where most people are like the juice ain't worth the squeeze. This guy is like, I'm squeezing.
Okay, so they did the next poll: favorite location when playing as a scav on all the maps. I mean, me personally, I take Factory and Streets because basically the only places that I do play. Obviously, Lighthouse is very popular. Interchange can be very popular. Reserve can be popular. Ground Zero can be popular if you're doing certain items. Some people love Woods for rare items. I don't think many. I think probably one of the least played areas is probably Customs or Shoreline. I would think Customs does get some play just because people know it so well. So maybe, do you think Shoreline's probably the least played?
I think so. And I will say I've played Night Shoreline Scav specifically, and basically kind of avoided the resort.
Yeah.
But sometimes the farm will just be like unlooted, so you're just like alone there with AI scavs gobbling up the loot and then waddling to one of the extracts. But now that they've taken away the bunker, because that used to be a scav extract, the little bunker.
Which one was that one?
So there was this. We'll say this right now. There's a bunker. Kind of like the ones on Woods where it's like in the mountain. It's just like a door.
Oh, yeah. The D2 one near the vehicle extract.
Yeah. Near the vehicle, you need a code now. Previously it was a scav extract. And actually, now that I bring this up, I have a grievance. I was playing scav And I had that as an extract, and I went there because I was min-maxing the timer, and I had like 30 seconds left on the clock, and it wouldn't let me take it because it wasn't a scav extract anymore, but the little doohickey on the top said it was, because obviously it was a code one.
Maybe they've moved it, because you don't normally see the code extract until you pick up the code itself. Usually I didn't think. I can't remember actually now.
Well, no. Because I was playing scav, it still had the old list of extracts.
But was this like at the start of the wipe?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Like the first month of wipe. Something like this. Yeah.
Funny.
But I mean, I got punished for being greedy, so yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, that's the thing. I think there's some of these maps, like Lighthouse in particular, and Street. I just think the Streets is just godly for Scav. Honestly,
yeah.
It's just godly. You spawn in super early, you can get loads of stuff. It's hard for PMCs. It's easy for Scav. That's where I'm getting all my PSUs. Okay, what is your preferred Scav playstyle, considering the effects of fence standing? So it's more about like Scav Karma. So I prefer friendly interaction with other Scavs and maintain positive fence standing. I play aggressively, not fearing negative fence standing. I change my playstyle depending on the situation, and I don't play as a Scav. Now, I chose the first one, which is I prefer friendly interaction with other Scavs and maintain positive fence standing. But this is like the closest answer to the real answer for me. For the real answer for me is a very small change in wording. I prefer friendly interaction with other Scavs directly because of the positive fence standing.
Right.
Is the way that I would reword it. Right? It's not like, I prefer friendly interaction because I want to play the game that way. I feel like there's no option. We talked about this a million years ago when Scav Karma got put in place in the first place. But like, there is no benefit other than randomly looting somebody else's backpack for the chance of getting anything good.
Right.
When you could just run anywhere else on the map and just pick stuff up yourself because there's so much loot. Although someone's gone through and, hand-picked it themselves, but normally people, people don't know where stuff spawns. So if you're like above average in terms of understanding the map anyway, you're probably better off just going and picking that stuff up yourself. And then all of the AI scavs are then unfriendly to you. And then fence punishes you with a longer timer. It's just like it's just not worth it. It's just never worth shooting another scav. Yeah. Unless like you literally have a GPU and like a vertex and a Bitcoin on you, and they're firing at you. And
yeah, if I'm scouting with you and I see you pick up a Bitcoin, GPU, vertex, and you're not dropping anything for me, it might be a little feisty.
Yeah, it's like if someone fights you and you've got that stuff on you, or you see someone pick it up, you think like, is it worth a minus 0.1? It's like, yeah, maybe, but you have to directly see them do it or be shot at while you're holding those things to make it worthwhile. So it just means that 99% of cases, it's never worth going down on fence rep for it.
Yeah, and like, we won't hardball this too long because I know we've talked about it a bunch of times, but it's one of those things where it's like it seems like they wanted to, curate a particular behavior within the scav player base that wasn't, enforceable by like flipping on a friendly fire switch that would break immersion, right? Because like it used to be back before Scav Karma, people would shoot at each other, right? Scavs, and this was like back before VoIP and everything, and like, people were like, it's really annoying, and like, fair enough, because sometimes you would get into these weird like metagamey strats where you're trying to like pretend you're an AI scav, but I'm actually a scav. I shot you in the back. Take your loot. But anyways, it because the rewards scale with the positive scaling, it's like not only is it like the scenario for me to even consider, switching to the dark side is so niche and obscure and like probably not worth it in the long run, especially in the long run. In the short term, it might be worth it, but like I said, very niche and obscure, probably never going to happen. It's just better for me to be friendly because I'm going to gain, like, I'm not going to lose anything, and I think you gain 0.01 for extracting successfully at a minimum. Yeah. So like you do. You just constantly go up, and then your timer gets shorter, so it's like compounding. So then like, your scav is like level 40. He loads in with like a full PMC kit, gets his backpack full, like, just like, why would I ever throw any of that away? And then what's even like crazier is like once you get over 6, I think if you do one singular bad thing, you just like it tanks your Scav Karma for some
Yeah, and
reason.
it goes down below 6 if you kill like a boss or shoot another scav or something. It's like no matter
Yeah.
how high you are above it, it takes you down to 6 no matter what, which is pretty annoying.
Which for me is like frustrating because then it feels like what I should be doing as a Scav is like dropping all my mags, which I basically do, except for the one gun. But you know what I mean? It's like I might as well just, unbind my mouse button to shoot. Like it's just I don't know. It's an approach.
Yeah, it's very strange.
It's an approach, but I would like. I do kind of miss the old days, and I would love to have tried a version where we had VoIP and no Scav Karma, but that time's passed. I think too many people enjoy the way things are now.
I mean, the next question is this, basically, right? Like, do you think the penalty system for negative fence standing is balanced enough? Yes, fair. No, they're too strict. No, they're too soft. I don't pay attention. I mean, I still think it's too. As I said before, I think it's still too strict. I just don't know if like a slow incremental Scav Karma even makes sense. I could imagine it more like it would almost be more annoying, like the rogues kind of system, like you shoot a player, like there's no karma, but you shoot a player Scav, like any Scav as a Scav, and then they're like everyone's aggro to you for like 3 raids or something, and then it goes away again. Like that would be like really annoying. One of the things about the Scav Karma thing is that it's sort of permanent and it's very hard to get out of the hole once the Scavs are shooting at you because you lose karma for shooting them, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Whereas like if it was more like the rogues, like Scavs are just your marked. It's like a bad Scav for 3 raids. The reason why it's not a problem now is you only marked for like 1 raid. You just have to get out once, and then everything's forgiven. You're back to normal again. Other than your overall long-term Scav Karma, you almost need Scav Karma to move around more or something. You almost need like. It goes from minus 10 to plus 10, and every Scav that you kill is like minus 2 or something. It's like you almost need to be like super binary, and then after 3 raids it goes back to 0 again or something. I don't know how you get positive karma, but like as always with this stuff, like we were talking about this and similar things the other day on stream, and I was saying like, well, what do we actually want? What do we want Scavs to do? What do we actually like? Scavs are really there, as I said, as social security. So it's like, do we want Scavs to group up and like? Do we want people just using Scav for farming items safely and not shooting each other? Do we want people to group together and kill PMCs? Like, what is it that we actually want Scavs to do?
Do we want Scavs
what kind
of be cutthroat towards each other?
Yeah, like what kind of playstyle are we going for here to fit the world and stuff? And I don't think there's not a exact answer to that anyway, because it's just like, well, how do you want your world to feel?
Actually, here on the Tarkov Bible, page 267, Nikita said, "Thou shalt not shoot another Scav.
Thou shalt not commit Scav on Scav violence."
No, I know what you're saying. I agree.
And I don't actually know if I know the answer to that.
Yeah, no, that totally. I mean, I think I have my taste, but I don't know. I think everyone, most everyone could agree, including, I feel like Nikita himself, that like you got to have some type of welfare solution because nobody wants to play PMC with like hatchet running because you broke, like except for like. And then someone's going to be like, well, what about actually hardcore deadly slab data? Okay, well, you know what I'm saying. You're no new player.
That's different to when you've got no other choice.
Right. Exactly. Self-imposed versus no other options. There's a difference there. So yeah, I think that's definitely got to be a thing. And you brought up a good point that I just want to like re-break down is, not only do the rewards scale as you do the things the system likes, but like if you start doing bad things, it becomes harder and harder to dig yourself out, which is like antithetical to like the whale phone idea. It's like you make one too many mistakes and suddenly your Scav timer is like an hour. You know what I mean? Like a new player, new player comes in, because I just assume that when someone kills me as a Scav, they're new. Like that's just like my base assumption. It's just like they don't really know that they're Scav Karma, and like the game doesn't really explain this. It's kind of easy to miss. You get like a little bit of you get something during the detailed breakdown screen, but you don't even get the explanation of what that is or what it does. So like,
Yeah, you have to like pour through the stats in the screen, and like, yeah, there's already a lot of numbers and things to learn.
yeah, but it doesn't even like define what it is or what it does, or you know what I mean. So
That's
like, I
true.
just assume they're new players, and like, if they keep going down this path, they're gonna have like 1 hour scab timers and be like, man, this game sucks. Why I can't? This game's so hard. Why can't I? Why is everyone shooting at me and not them? This game's broken. Fix the AI.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I still haven't completely decided where I want it, because it probably was too far before when there was no system.
Yeah,
Because
I
it
think
was
so.
just like every map was a complete Thunderdome. Every scav was just shoot everything on sight.
It's so crazy.
Factory was, I mean, it was funny, right?
Factory
was really funny.
Crazy.
Someone was in my chat the other day just being like, can you, and I think they must have started playing in the last like couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying like, but can you imagine what would happen if you removed Scav Karma? Like Factory would just be complete carnage. And I was just like,
Correct.
yes, it was. Like, yeah, we lived that. That's how it was for years. You used to go there to warm up. It was like Last Hero in arena, right? That's how it was. Winner takes all, and you die 95% of the time.
God, I miss those days. It's like, I'm gonna loot this body, the scab body on the floor Factory. It's like, and I'm dead. Damn, I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. There's always another scab.
Yeah. So I don't know. That was probably too far the other way. So it's like, how do you get a middle ground that makes sense?
Right.
That isn't like really toxic, because like I'd quite like scavs to kind of be able to work together a bit more to kill PMCs, but then you don't want it to be so imbalanced that that's like the that's the role of scavs, and the scavs end up doing that rather than doing anything else, and then it makes PMC's lives miserable, especially on the maps that are really hard for PMC anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know exactly what BSG should do. I actually don't really know. I don't have a fully formed opinion on.
I kind of like what you suggested.
Like, Scav Karma.
Just do something very basic and binary. Like, if you do a bad thing, you receive a slap on the wrist. You do a bad thing again, you receive a little bit larger slap on the wrist. You do a bad thing again, you receive the largest slap on the wrist. And then maybe that's like scavs are aggro to you for the next 3 raids. You know what I mean? And it's like maybe that's too complicated. Maybe it's even simpler. Like, it's just a flat 3 raid punishment. And you'll have those players that are just like, screw you guys, I'm going to kill everyone, and they're just going to suffer the consequences of that. But I don't know, maybe that's not even enough. I'm not sure.
And I feel like that's fine, because then it's like you'll then play, because as I said before, half of the benefit of Scav is being able to move around the maps at your will with the AIs on your side.
Yeah.
So 3 raids with all the AIs shooting at you makes the map a lot more annoying. And you don't have the meds and the armor that you have on PMC, so you can't even take a hit or two normally. You'll just die to shotgun scavs down the streets. So,
but then see, I'm thinking now, if they did that and you still have map selection, you do a bad thing on an interchange map, and then for the next 3 raids you're going to be aggroed, so you just go to Factory and just die instantly. So you just burn 3 or 3 tries.
That's true, I suppose.
But I
guess
mean,
it's still...
that would be the course over however long your timer is, of course.
Yeah, then you've got the issue of, like, if somebody is a bad scav, if there's any method to, like, realistically determine or in an immersive way determine that from the outside. Because that's one of the more annoying ones, is if you are trying your hardest to play as good scav,
right,
you don't know who's bad scav, and there's no fun way of doing it. They just kill you. At the moment, there's no it's not like, oh well, but you wouldn't know in real life, and it's just kind of like, yeah, I know, but also you just die, and it isn't fun. It's not a fun gameplay mechanic to try and work out who's good or who's bad or whatever.
All right, 2 ideas popped in my head. A, you drenched them in blood. Like, they need to be super obvious that they're a bad scav because they're drenched in blood. And then B, their character, like, you do the DayZ thing. In DayZ, when you eat human flesh, you start like laughing to yourself and like talking. You do that with the scavs. Now you're just like this, but to give them like a very distinguished voice line or 2 that they, like some cultist chant, but it's like louder.
Specific like bad scav voice line or whatever that you can't control. Maybe I was thinking almost we could maybe have the AI scavs like shout at them like other specific voice lines.
You could do that too.
So you go, oh, I know that there's a bad PMC somewhere.
Yeah, I think there's some
Okay, there's some
creative
ways.
things they maybe could do.
You got to kind of be careful. I didn't want to. I don't want to put something stupid in, you know. So it's just
Yeah,
kind of hard. But
yeah.
okay, so how balanced do you think the Scav starting gear is relative to fence standing? I can't be bothered to read them all out because they're basically just things like, well, I will actually. I'm completely satisfied. I would like fence standing to have a larger impact. I don't notice any increase in quality with higher fence standing. I don't pay much attention to the starting equipment. I'm completely dissatisfied, and I don't play as a scav. I feel like points 2 and 3 are like the same, but just like different ways of wording it. I would like fence standing to have a larger impact on equipment quality versus I don't notice any increase in equipment quality with high fence standing. Like point 3 doesn't say anything. It just says, "Oh, I don't really notice." Whereas the second one says affirmatively, I think it should, which is what I put. I was like, well, Scav Karma should probably have an impact on equipment quality because right now it's, I don't know, doesn't really do that much. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, does Scav equipment get better with Karma? I'm not sure if it does. I
I
think it
mean,
does to a point.
it kind of
It
does. I
influences
mean,
it,
it
I think.
definitely does, but I think I don't know. It's like you'll get a scav backpack more often. You'll get fuller mags, some type of med. What's the you know, your rare drops like labs cards, things like that tend to increase. There's like one that's like a chance for an SV98 to have a thermal. It's like a very
Yeah.
low roll, but you can get that. Whereas like on the bad side, man, you get it's pretty rough. I've seen some screenshots. It's like a tea bag and like a tea pistol, not even silenced. Things. It's just like it's rough. No
Like, what's
armor.
my next one? My next Scav is, the double barrel shotgun with a CSA rig and a headset. My Scav
Yes.
Karma's not that high, actually. It's only 1.97.
Oh yeah, yeah. Once you start getting to like the 4 to 5 range, I start noticing a lot more scav backpack and the armor
Hmm.
rig, the camo one, or not armor rig, just the regular Russian armor, the camo one. It's like the class 4 one. Like it'll be beaten up usually, but it will have the plates in it typically. Unless they change that.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, should they get? I mean, it depends what they do with Scav Karma, right? Like in the current system, if they keep everything else exactly the same, yeah, I think it should have more impact, probably.
More impact on both sides of the spectrum, or
Mm, maybe not below 0,
mm,
because we were saying before about the like getting out the hole, which isn't really
yeah,
ideal.
yeah.
It's like that's like a sort of a patch on a bad system, though. So it's kind of torn on that because you'd want to, but it's like, well, it kind of goes against the objective of what it's there for. So I don't know. What's your main objective when playing a Scav? Gear and task hideout items, increase fence standing, PvP fights, game mechanics, learn the locations, or I don't play as a scav. I mean, I exclusively ticked looking for gear, task hideout items because that's what I use it for
Yeah.
almost all of the time.
And
It's
I
either
feel
just
like
money from running through factory or like stims, just cycling my scav over and over and over and over again, trying to find stims on the initial loadout, or it's looking for PSUs, stuff on Lighthouse, Vertexes or Coffee M radios or whatever, like that kind of thing. But I
yeah,
know some people do use it to learn locations and stuff. So
of course, but I feel like the majority, most if the majority of people are going to be honest, the majority should skew towards task items and hideout items. I would imagine,
yeah,
anyways. I mean, that's just like anytime in the history of Tarkov Twitch streams ever, someone asks, "Where do you find X item?" It's like just go scav on X map. It's like so.
yeah,
We'll see. I'm curious to see what the results will be of this one
yeah,
because, I mean, I think I have a pretty decent idea of what the majority is, but by how much, and then what will BSG do with that information is my follow-up question.
yeah, exactly. I don't think it needs to change radically. I don't. I
I
don't
don't think
think
so
like Scav
either.
Karma is kind of Scav Karma is one of those things that's sort of. I guess it is. I guess it is kind of important. Like Scav broadly doesn't need to change too much. I don't think, but
Yeah, I think it's the karma part specifically you're saying.
Yeah, the karma part has such an influence on what people actually do. There's one more question, which is just like at what point in the wipe do you play Scav, right? Early, mid, late wipe, whatever.
Yeah.
Just for completeness. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like the karma thing has a huge impact on people's behavior.
Right.
It's made playing Scav basically pacifist simulator until there is so much as the whiff of a PMC, and everybody then just tries to just like slam dunk on the PMC, because that only happens probably once in 20 raids, because the players are kind of hidden and you're spawning in, usually 15 minutes, 20 minutes in, whatever. So a lot of the PMCs are gone already because of the reasons why PMCs disappear. And then the other part is just the long cooldown timers for me for new players. I mean, if they just like tweaked for the first 5 or 10 levels, the amount that you give it like almost no cooldown at the beginning and slowly scales up to level 10 to where it is now, and then did something with Scav Karma that makes a bit more sense and makes it more of a middle ground. So it's not just a free for all, but it's also not just a one-way ticket to an easy life.
Yeah,
then I think I'd probably prefer that, but I don't know exactly how I want them to do it.
Maybe up till level 10, you get 10 free raids. No cooldown. You can just spam them out.
Or maybe just 10 then. Yeah. Not even level 10, just like 10, 10 free Scav raids.
Yeah, you don't even need to put a level cap. Yeah. And maybe I had another idea, but this would require some changes. But you remove maybe you don't remove, but for the sake of the idea, you remove all the Scav weapons and durability stats. Like, how they all have messed up stuff. And instead, you apply like a hidden modifier based off your karma. So like if you have really bad karma, your actual, even though your gun says 100 durability, your actual durability is like 42%, So
that sounds so toxic.
But it's karma, it's karma.
You're a bad Scav, so you just jam randomly.
Yes, you jam a lot more randomly. A lot more. So church, that was the most PSP thing ever. Yeah.
Literal karma.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't say that too loud, because Nikita might hear.
You're right. That was terrible. Actually, that's too meta. Players are going to metagame that. Never mind. That was a bad idea. Meta. Meta. I'm just going to keep saying meta. No, but yeah, I would like something that wasn't so like linear, because obviously it's like, why would you do the bad thing outside of the few examples? Because sometimes it's like really annoying when like there's an airdrop that comes down and you have that one player Scav that's just like hoarding. Like they are just like so selfish. It's like they don't even voip to you, talk to you, nothing. They're just like sucking up that airdrop, and it's like, okay, dang, I guess I'll take this iced tea. Appreciate you, man. Have a good raid.
Or similarly, when you kill a player and then AI scavs come in and like start hoovering up all the loot.
Oh my god,
and you can't do anything either.
God, I hate that so much.
And there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. That is probably one of the worst changes they made, just because of that one single reason. It's like, don't you dare take that pilgrim, you mother. It's like...
Yeah. All right. What's next then? I've had enough talk about scavs. What's next on the agenda?
This is Scav Talk podcast. Okay? This is our bread and butter. This is everything we're about. Yeah, next up we got, I guess we kind of talked about the DLSS 4 stuff,
oh yeah, we basically talked about that already. We can skip that, otherwise we're gonna run out of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we already kind of talked about it.
But there was I guess we'll just like quickly, this is gonna be a larger news cast. We'll just quickly, let's do the Nikita stuff, the lever action that he posted on Twitter. That was, I like me a good old Western roleplay. Got the Sheriff Badge, Sheriff's Hat, Sheriff Revolver. Now we got the Sheriff Repeater. That's what I'm talking about. Red Dead Redemption 3 in Tarkov. Let's go. So that's pretty cool.
So yeah, he just posted this picture of the lever action in progress, like the in progress early models. And I don't. Well, people have been asking for it for ages. I'm like, whatever, I think the only game I've ever played where there's a lever action weapon is PUBG, I think.
And Hunt Showdown.
And even then it was kind of a meme, huh?
Hunt Showdown? Surely. That counts as well.
Oh yeah, Hunt Showdown. Yeah. That I played recently, but no, something that I played like a lot of. Right? I've not played that much Hunt as of yet. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Hunt Showdown. I mean, it's very it's core to the game, you know. Like they're really really good. Actually, in Hunt, they're like super good. They're some of the best weapons because, well, especially for beginners, because they have some of the fastest fire rates. Because like Hunt Showdown really suffers from fire rate because it's all old school guns.
Mm-hmm.
So the fire rate's like very very limited for the most part. But you can take the levering perk as well. You can do like faster hip fire lever action. You just like bum, 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 bum.
I like that.
You get a point fire, and point fire in Hunt Showdown actually works about as well as it does in EFT. Bizarrely, it's another game that's got very powerful shoulder shooting.
Yeah,
which is quite interesting. So yeah, like they could be super super good in that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, who was asking for it? It was Presley, right? Apparently, was asking for lever action in Tarkov.
I've seen the fair people request it. I mean, it's just one of those things where, you know, it's like a style gun. It's just like, it's not really, and then like shooting games, you know, particularly, it's just like, yeah, it's not supposed to be good or effective. It's just, it's got the lever, you know, it's like aesthetic.
Yeah, it's like, it reminds me of the crazy BSG guy who was there. He's just like, you guys don't use pistols? Well, we got you another one. You know, that's kind of what we're going for.
Then we got some of Nikita's reels / I don't know, BSG B-roll that he pushes out. Just like a bunch of very short 2-second clips of random bits and pieces, maps, them doing like their little Rigi skits. I don't know if skits is the right word, maybe.
Dramas. It's showcasing here was new handguards for the AK-12, I think. Is some of the like the pans you see of the models, which is the one thing that people were kind of intrigued about, because the AK-12 obviously just doesn't have like any mods at all really in EFT, which is a shame because it could be one of the. I mean, it kind of is in some situations. It's like it's very rigid though. Is the problem? Like if you don't like the way that the gun is, then it's like you can't really do much to it. But you know, if you like it, then it's one of the better ones. But yeah, it's looks like it's going to get some more modding potential, which is quite good. I'd quite like to get some more compensators and stuff so you can run it loud. You're not just forced to use the AK-12 suppressor because it is very limited right now.
Other than that, I guess the other last piece related to Kita and such, BSG, they opened up on the official subreddit a feedback collection for the most annoying bugs in EFT currently. They say, for those who are not familiar with me, my name is Daniel. I'm the lead community manager at Battlestate Games. They like started thread and stuff, which is similar to the one Nikita ran a few years ago. Basically, they're intaking what are some of the most annoying bugs, lists the hashtags it's related to. I think they actually call out, we want to stay in close contact with the community, with up-to-date understanding of issues and concerns with them. I mean, this seems kind of like, you know, it's not very atypical of BSG to do something like this. I presume this is because the big date is approaching, you know, fast. That being 1.0, possibly this time some year, who knows? I mean, what's another year added onto the release date? You know, 2025, 2026, it's an even number. I mean, so I don't know, but that's kind of it, really. I mean, we could go through a couple here that popped up.
Maybe just a couple of the really upvoted ones, maybe.
Yeah, we could sort by. See, I never really know what to sort by for like top or best. Like, what's the difference? What does best actually mean versus top? Top is the most updupes, but
I guess top for now.
All right.
I don't know how it just determines best. Maybe it's the ones that are least and like least salty, not with all just like people just like farming upvotes. So maybe they've got some methodology to it. I don't know.
Well, we'll try to get a good sample. So top one here, the most updupes, even a little shiny Reddit badge gold thingy. I don't know. Someone gave them money, I think. I'm not sure what that means, but they did say performance. The reason myself and 4 others stopped playing every time we get to the game. And yeah, that's basically it. I mean, actually, there was like a fair amount of these that I saw, and you know, people were like, "Yeah, performance," which is like an age-old thing. Easy karma to farm on Reddit.
Yeah. Source diff first, yeah, basic performance, but everybody knows this, especially this wipe.
Yeah.
Like it's just Unity stuff now at this point, but the streets as well. I mean, I'm interested to see still. We haven't had any word on whether they're going to split streets or just freeze the time, whether that's going to make any difference, whether they do have to split the map into two. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
it is sad. I mean, I was talking with some friends last night just about staring down the barrel of building like a rig that's actually going to play streets properly, and you look at something like the 9800 X3D, which obviously is a beast, right? But you know, run that with 6,000 megahertz RAM, DDR5, and like a new motherboard, one that's actually decent, and like move my GPU over. And based on like the benchmarking tests, like the 1% lows with the 9800 X3D is my average FPS with the 5800 X3D.
Man, that's crazy.
Which is insane. It's actually insane. It's like 60 FPS, 70 FPS on streets, like 1% lows or something.
That's still
and the average frame rate is like.
What's the average? Yeah.
Oh, where did I actually?
Oh, is that your system?
No, that's just like from benchmarking. So it's not me per se.
And it's really bad though. 60%, 1%. I mean, 60 FPS, 1%.
Let's see.
Like if the gap's really high, like you get like 200 average, like that's really bad.
Let me see if I can find where this is. Let me have a look. Oh, Discord's being annoying and it's only searching through.
That's okay.
How do you search through a particular board? I don't even know how you do that. It normally does that by default, but somebody posted a picture in here that I didn't save.
Mm.
Oh, here we go. I found it. Yeah, so Streets 1440p online. I think this must have been from like Virology, that guy who does the stuff on YouTube. But anyway, so the average FPS with the 9800 X3D on Streets, average FPS was 137.
I mean,
versus the 5700 X3D, which is apparently 94, which I doubt. But anyway, versus the 1% low. Oh no, actually, it's higher than that. Yeah, 1% low is 107, and the 0.1% low is 93. Okay, so it's much higher than I said.
That's pretty good.
Whereas the 5700 X3D, according to this benchmark, was 94 average FPS, 71 at the 1%, 1%, and then 57. I mean, this is averages, right? So like normally we focus. It depends on where you are as to where you take the footage. I haven't seen this. Right. If I did see this video, I can't remember the methodology. So it depends on where you are, like what you look at, right? Like you can easily go from 120 FPS on streets to 62 on with a 5800 X3D, depending on like just where you look and where you are on the map. And normally, I don't care if it's over 100 FPS. I'm not bothered. Whereas like it bothers me when it goes down into the low 60s or low 50s. You can start to feel it, and then you try and use an LPVO. That's when it becomes problematic.
Yeah.
So if your 0.1% lows are like 93, then it's pretty nuts. But like those CPUs are like £450, £500, something like that. Like we were like pricing stuff up last night. It's like all in, it's probably about £800 just for motherboard, RAM, and CPU. I mean, I mean, they're top of the line stuff. But I had a friend who got the 7800 X2D not that long ago, and he was like, "Oh, I bought it online, like secondhand or whatever." And I was like, looking through a few threads, and it's like people don't seem to think it's worth for most games because most games are GPU bound rather than CPU bound, and so the 7800 X2D seems like it's gone up from what I can see. He was like, "Oh, I bought it for like £250 online," because people like were waiting for the latest. This is the theory. People were waiting for the latest one, and then it wasn't that much better, so people went back to buy the 7800 X3D.
But why would the prices go up?
Because people were waiting, and then they decided to buy it anyway after they released the 9800 X3D and the various benchmarks came out. Because most people are stuck by their GPU.
Yeah, for most
games. So like going from 7800 X3D to a 9800 X3D doesn't necessarily matter for most people. It matters for Tarkov. Tarkov's like the weird outlier.
Yeah,
it's like I never used to have issues single PC streaming on Tarkov because my GPU had so much headroom. It never made any difference. Whereas as soon as I started trying to stream like Great Open Warfare, there was that. What was that one called? There was the spaceship one where it was like kind of like Alien versus Predator on the spaceship, something Zero, and that was quite fun. But like all of those ones, anything in UE5, my GPU is just like 100%.
Yeah.
And there's no headroom at all. It's like completely different to EFT. So I feel like people are more incentivized broadly in the gaming space to upgrade their GPU. Whereas in the Tarkov space,
Right.
you're better off upgrading your CPU, which is like unusual. But anyway, I don't know. I was thinking about it. It would be nice to run streets nicely. I mean, it doesn't. That's the thing. It partly doesn't matter enough. Like I could definitely play just fine. You know, it like dips down to 60 or whatever, maybe low 50s if there's loads of
Right.
stuff going on and I'm using a scope. Like, is that enough to drop like nearly $1,000 on new hardware? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm that bothered. You
Yeah.
know, I know some people are super sensitive to it, but I'm not sure if I care that much. But yeah, anyway, so they need to fix performance, long story short. What else we got? Scavs walked up to the open doors, closed them, and then phased through the door. That's the funny one. Performance again, audio.
Audio
When
was
something sold
another
to a
one.
trader, money doesn't stack with existing cash. Instead, it's placed in a separate stash space. That one's kind of annoying. Flea
But see,
market
like,
max offers bug.
Yeah, here we go. I was like, where's the actual bugs? Because like some of these aren't necessarily bugs. You know, it's like performance, like not necessarily
Yeah.
a bug. You know, audio, the stash thing, not necessarily a bug. But like this flea market, what we flea market offer bugs? Like what? I don't even know about
This one.
that.
Offer bug exists. So basically, you get to like 4 out of 5, and then you try to place the last one, and it says back end error. You've reached your max limit count or something, and either not counting them properly, or it is 5, but it says 4 and lets you place the offer, and then because when it back end errors you, it reconnects to the server and resyncs with the server, right? So that's why it pulls you right back to the main menu, spins the circle, and goes and resynchronizes your client, which is why you can move loads of crap around sometimes, because that's not saved on the server. It doesn't. It'd be crazy bad optimization if every single time you moved anything, it would synchronize that with the item server. So that's why sometimes you go, move this, move that, move the other, move this, move that, but then something weird happens, and then your client goes like, hold on, that's not supposed to happen, or some check goes, this is not supposed to happen, and then it pulls you out, resyncs with the server, you go back in, and everything you did over the last 45 seconds has been like returned back to normal. And that, like, it's really really annoying.
Yeah, I hate that.
But
that happens with me with modding sometimes.
It's not actually like saving. It's not actually saving it until I think you have to. If you want it to save, you have to like buy like a piece of ammo from the trader or something. You can like force it to like save. Something like that. Anyway, so yeah, so there's max offer bug. The capture is too frequent. Even on the trader screen, buying from Fence was forcing capture after like 3 purchases. I still feel this. I get captured quite often buying like a couple of items in a row. It's just really annoying. What else do they say? Animations, games feeling unintuitive when it comes to jumping or standing from crouch or on something like a mountain.
I don't really relate with this, but I will say, still cannot, like, every time I do the sliding Neo in the Matrix on a rock, like, it's just like the most infuriating thing. It's like I can't mantle. I have to jump. Like, man, we were playing Woods, going up to the big old sniper rock, and I did notice. I will say they did add some new geometry. Like there was a tree falling over that was like clearly a path up. That tree used to not be there, and you just had like the rocks, and you just had to jump. But now you can like do a little bit of a mantle. But then there was still another segment where you just had to jump. You couldn't mantle. And it's just like the sliding thing's just really annoying. Like you literally like, and you never know how far it's gonna go or happen. And sometimes it's like just the feeling of me not having no control. That's why I played a video game. I'm in control. I'm player one. It's really frustrating. And then the other one that they said, which I really like this, please for the love of God, give us an option in the weapon builder to only show parts we have unlocked via the traders. That would be amazing. There's
that would be good.
There was, maybe still is. I'm not sure if it's still kept up to date, but at one point in time there was a SPT mod for that feature, and it was very nice. It's like I would love something like that, because it sucks when you're trying to figure this out and it's within the tools that we have. It's not very intuitive. It's very awkward.
Yeah. This one I could get behind. Let us hand in hideout items one at a time. I literally have 2 junk boxes full of hideout items because I'm missing a single item or 4 upgrades.
Yes, please. That would be great. I mean, they might as well go the extra mile and throw it on barters, but for now, let's get what we can, okay? It's like for hideout, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Quests like Bullshit, Psycho Sniper, and the guide need to be actively restarted, while Tarkov Shooter Part 8 does not. This is annoying.
God, I can't tell you how many times.
Quests need to auto-restart when failed.
There was one wipe where I did like a handful on the guide or something, and then one of my
Yeah.
friends was like, "How many more Fs you got to go?" I was like, "Oh, let's take a look." I was like, "Guys, I forgot to restart it. We already did like 4 maps." It was
Oh,
yeah, yeah, that was
it's
rough.
so bad. Yeah. Aha. Sounds a player emits sometimes aren't audible by that very player. It can happen what makes a drop sound for others without knowing it when stepping over something small. I know I've showcased this many a time. Every time I do an audio video, I basically showcase this. Same thing happens for weapon handling. I mean, yes, I think this is pretty much from my video. Same things happens for weapon handling, switching scopes, blah, 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 makes sound for others, not the one doing it. Yep, 100%. 100%. Remove fan rate status for ammo. Yeah. Oh, or just a way to get rid of it. Like, at the minute, it doesn't matter. Fan
At
rate
the
status for
minute,
ammo, because
yeah.
you can sell anything on the flea, except for, like, the odd daily where it asks you to get 300 rounds of SP slug for the TOS or whatever. Other than that, it doesn't make any difference. But I don't know. It depends what they do with the flea. Like it's only not a thing now because you can sell that stuff on the flea.
Oh, look,
So it sort of depends.
the BTR is currently invisible and doesn't make any sound. They did it. They read the post. They did it. This is proof.
Yeah. Like, I did wait for it like 20 raids onwards to do the quest. And now I know why it never came. Someone else said it was sad.
Oh,
Bad waste of time. Matching error. What's this one? Oh, when you jump onto an uneven surface, sometimes you glide over the surface without being able to do anything. There you go, Church.
yes.
I agree it should be fixed, but it's kind of funny sometimes.
I think it's the best
Oh, yeah.
when people glide over off the cliff and die.
Yes, and without any player agency whatsoever.
Yeah.
You're just like, no.
Yeah, you're panicking so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe this will be the last one. When entering traders and trying to sell, the section where items should be sold should appear is not visible. You have to press buy and then sell again for it to show up and place the items. Sometimes, even after selling, if you return and try to sell items, the sell button becomes disabled. You need to remove an item and add it back for the selling list for it to
Oh
work.
yeah, this is a weird bug.
I'm like, yeah, I'm a big plus on this one. This definitely happens, and the same happens for insurance. Sometimes you go in, you try to insure, and it doesn't let you. So you have to uninsure everything and then reinsure everything
Ooh.
with the insure all button. There's lots of like doubling up stuff. They all sound like they're related to the same thing. So, yeah, it's painful.
Oh my god, someone said one of my things. Not a bug, but we're fixing it for weapons on the left shoulder, and you come close to the wall, the weapon will transition back to the right shoulder. Yes, God, that's so annoying. I mean, it's just one of those like Tarkov mechanics that you just have to like adapt to, but it's still infuriating.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, there's so much. This is why I started trying to like make a note of everything, because you just run into these things, and it's so hard to. If someone says like, "Oh, what are the annoying things in Tarkov?" You just like, it's hard to think of them off the top of your head. But
it's like there's so many. Like, it's really, like I don't know where to begin.
and it's really specific stuff too. Like, like, barrel stuffing myself on the left hand side shoulder swap means that it then goes back to the right hand animations until I then give myself enough space to transit back to the left again. And it's also too slow. I think the left shoulder swap should be way quicker than it is. The animation is too awkward and too slow, I think.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say no. I don't think. I don't see a reason to not speed it up.
Yeah, armor packet's not working correctly. They repair less than it showed in the interface. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm curious to see what all gets implemented, and I mean, yeah, the AI stuff. I will say though, I wish they could do something about AI and performance, because I feel like that is just like one of the biggest contributors. Like even the fact that it's on the server side, a lot of it, it's just still like so taxing on the like streets. There's just so much AI and so much going on within the map. It's like, but then I understand you don't want like quote unquote dead raids, or like, how am I going to complete my task to kill scavs on the streets if there's no streets? I mean, there's scavs on the streets, so it's like, I don't know. I just wish there was like a, like, just tick the performance up arrow box, not the down box. Like, guys, can we tick the other box?
This is the thing that makes me slightly concerned about, oh, we're going to change the day night, we're going to split the map and all this stuff. And it's like, if you play the map offline with no AI, it runs amazingly.
Yeah, very good.
Like, it's got to be that. And the lighting isn't going to change that really at all.
I mean, it's gonna help.
I don't think. I mean,
I don't know. It depends
maybe.
how they do it, because I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
if it's all, I imagine it can't be all baked. Like, one way of doing it is you could, you know, pre-render, do all the work of the lighting and shadows, and pre-bake that for each like tick of the. Because I don't know what it is, if it's every like minute or 5 minutes.
Well, the lighting changes really fast. You can see it if you pay attention
Yeah,
to the shadows. It's like it ticks like every second or something.
I think you're right. Yeah, I don't know why it's a minute. So like, but I'd imagine that would be so much data to like store and then call that they don't do it that way. It's probably live, meaning it's like dynamic shadows. So
I would think so. So maybe it does matter.
it would probably help some, but like again, in GPU
But it's still doing
scenarios,
that offline. So
I
and then
know,
offline it runs
I
fine.
know. That's the thing. It's like it's the CPU. There's like I don't know what it is. I mean, I just don't know, but like there's just so much data being numbers being crunched is like probably keeping track of all the scav inventory for the client side. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Maybe it runs. Maybe the day-night cycle, because of the way they did it. Maybe it runs on the same
You know,
CPU thread as the AI
maybe.
or something. And they're like, oh, we can't disentangle them. So
Yeah.
we've looked at where does the AI run on people's CPUs? Does it run on like one particular thread? Like what else is running on in this particular thread? And maybe because that's like, you see the classic thing of like 50% CPU, 50% GPU, and everyone's like, what gives? And you look at the CPU, and one of the cores is at like
Yeah.
95%.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Maybe it's all
pretty
running on one
typical.
place. I don't know. I know nothing about this stuff really.
Yeah.
Other than just taking good logical guesses at whatever. So who knows? There's any reason as to why maybe it will work. It just feels like, I don't know. I feel like I've been burnt too many times by improved FPS in the patch notes, like 3 times, and then this one now where they're like, oh, we're gonna be improving the FPS on Woods and these other places, and I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I guess I'll play it and see.
I imagine
We've
too.
made a change to the last. It's like, okay.
I imagine too, to a certain extent, they're probably like if they make the AI quote unquote better, like more intelligent, more sophisticated, that's probably not a free change. There's probably some cost to that,
Right.
which could be passed on to the player, but maybe more importantly, could probably going to be passed on to the server.
I guess actually,
you
yeah.
know, um, and that could be bad. So I don't know. It's like, what if the servers are already at like 90% capacity? It's like, and they're paying
Hmm.
for this, right? So it's not not like they're cheaping out on presumably some of these things. But anyway, one thing I did want to mention just before we wrap up this segment is SPT. Um, and there's basically what happened because I follow this one content creator for SPT. They do like YouTube videos, and it's kind of just like let's plays. Like they're just playing their modded version, and basically just chatting, but it's on a recorded thing. And they're just maybe talking about mods or this and that and the other. But this one was about the latest version, which presumably hasn't changed since I last saw this, but and performance, which I was like, oh, this is kind of spicy, because when I played, I remember you had a lot of options for performance. I mean, it was still like more, like customs didn't run as good as it did online because you were offloading the AI that normally be largely processed on the server to your machine. But through like mods, basically, they were able to come up with some clever ways. Like one thing they would do is like, because you're only, I mean, this a lot of stuff is stuff you can only really do in a single player environment, but they were taking
Hmm.
your position and like drawing a radius around. Like, okay, only spawn scavs here, and then you know, um, and then when they leave that radius, remove like banish the scav basically. Whether it's like hidden
Hmm.
or it's saving on performance. It's not as real or immersive on the back end, but you'd save some costs anyways. Come to find out, because BSG switched over to PvE game mode, um, basically because SPT built itself upon offline mode, that means they had to like redo everything from the foundation to fit within this new framework of the PvE mode. Because I guess it wasn't compatible when they made the switch, so they had to like sort of refit it onto PvE, because PvE basically has basically they were creating an artificial offline persistent mode using their own sort of wizardry. But then that no longer works because of the backend changes BSG made. Probably not intentionally, but there is this pre-existing version of BSG, so like they just have to like refit it on there. And one of the issues I heard, and I don't know how true this is, but because the way they handle scav spawning in PvE is basically, even though they turn off, the modders like turn off spawns, like trying to do these saving techniques on performance, they can only go so far. So like they can deny the command, but they can't stop the command from running. You know what I mean? Basically, I'm like, this is my second grader understanding. So it's still like taxing the people's machines, and it's like so bad. Like people are like complaining, like I can't play. Like they're playing older copies of the games, but like that's problematic too, because some of the newer mods aren't backwards compatible. So it's just like it's just kind of in like a bit of a rough patch for this community, and it's a bit unfortunate because, I mean, yeah, the person, I think their name is Starbox. Doesn't sound right, but we'll go with it. They were quite like sad about it, and like it sucks. This is like the way they've like grown so accustomed to how like this is. I forget what he said, but it's like this is how I like to play Tarkov, and it just sucks that And basically it was like the average FPS was okay, but like you would just get these like very awful 1% lows, like 30, just like it's chugging along 35 FPS, and then it's back up to like 90 or whatever, but it's like it just made it so like unbearable because you never know what's going to happen, and it's like, yeah, it sounds really annoying. So Starbucks, thank you for correcting me on that. And so yeah, hopefully that gets better and they able to work through that, because I'd hate that. It's a shame, but that's just kind of the comes with the territory when you're like a third party modder. It's like you don't you're not really you don't really have a say in how things go. You just sort of it's like you're I don't know. I'm trying to think of another example. It's like I guess if you're like making an app on the App Store, you don't really have a say in what Google or Apple's, rules, or, this, that, and the other, right? What type of updates they do. You just have to adapt to it. You just got to work with what you're given. This is the space you operate in.
Yup. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay.
Well,
how long have we been going for?
About 2 hours.
Oh, actually been 2 hours. Okay. Well, we'll just whip through some final bits. Have you got much else to discuss on your side, or should I just do a bit on?
I could save it for it's just what I've been up to in the gaming space. I kind of stepped away from Tarkov. I've like looked at, I don't know why, but like ROM hacks for like Game Boy Advance, like particularly Pokemon and like fan made games, and I don't really like Pokemon that much. Like I played a couple when I was a kid, but I was just really taken aback. It's like the amount of like there's this one called Pokemon Unbound that I played a little bit of, but it's like amazing to me that it's like literally third generation Pokemon, which is like Pokemon Fire Red or Pokemon Emerald. I don't know, whatever. Pokemon people probably know what I'm talking about. And it's like that as like a foundation, and then they like backported mechanics and like sprites, like all the other newer generations. I have no idea what I'm looking at. It's a bird Pokemon. It's like I had no idea some of this stuff. It's like Pikachu has 5 Mega Evolutions. What? Yeah, it's like I don't even know. But anyways, and it's just like it's like a new map, a new story. It's like all these quality life features. I'm just like, how what wizardry were you able to take? And it's crazy to me. And then people will actually go and buy ROMs. Like they actually like some seller will download this patch, right? Because you have to, we're getting to emulation, but I'll try to keep it brief. Some person will have a copy of the game on their disc that they ripped from their physical copy of the game that they purchased from Nintendo, allegedly. Totally not downloaded off a sketchy website. And then they'll patch the game with some person's quote unquote ROM hack, which is insane to me because it's like literally looking at hex code and like changing values and like my mind's just like, what the heck? And yeah, it's like I just like I know. And okay, so they'll patch the game and then they'll load it onto a physical, a GBA cartridge, and they'll put like a fake sticker and they'll sell it on, Alibaba, and it's like, and then I watched this one person like, yeah, I bought it. I know it's like, whatever. I knew what it was, but I just wanted to have the physical copy. And it's like, it's crazy to me. It's like it's like an actual thing that Game Freak, the developers, it's like the quality here is so high up. It's like, wow. And it's like crazy to me that, I mean, because they, it's like a big community within the Pokemon scene, ROM hacking specifically. So they got like all these third-party tools. Like they have like a tile editor that's like built. Like this isn't like they, hacked into the developers and stole their internal map editor. It's like, no, they developed their own map editor, and it's like got all these features. It's just like, it's amazing to me that like 20 years later, there's people still making Game Boy Advance games through ROM hacking, and it's like, so I looked at one of my favorite Game Boy games that I have a lot of memory of is Mega Man Battle Network, which is like basically Capcom's way of trying to capitalize on Pokemon's success with the whole like collectible card game, video game IP, anime IP, just like big. So they were like, let's take our Mega Man IP and like try to retrofit it into that. So they came out with like a deck battler, but it's like action RPG where it's like a 3x3 grid on your side and a 3x3 grid on their side, and you move up, down, left, right around the tiles. But basically like you build a deck, you draw 5, but they're called battle chips because you like, within the anime, you like, Mega Man, I'm gonna give you sword, lance, program advance, activate the hacker mans. This is like an alternate universe where it's like everyone's got their they're called pets, and they're like these little cell phones.
It sounds like a fever dream. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like a fever dream.
And Mega Man's in there. You got your little net, your Navi. They're called. They're I don't know, little like humanified programs, and you send them into the net to delete viruses. And it's viruses are like cartoon. They're all cartoonified. It's like their version of Pokemon. I love that game series. Like, there's probably like half of a person in the audience that knows what I'm talking about. Everyone else
I've
are just
literally
like,
never heard of this before, and it sounds hallucinogenic.
It is. I love the game because it's like it keeps the strategy part of deck building.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're building a deck, you have all these different things like bomb, sword, whatever. But the way they balance it is like you draw 5, and then when you pick from that 5, they have each card has its own alpha. Wait, its own letter from the alphabet associated with it. So like bomb,
Okay.
I put 5 bomb Bs in my deck and 1 bomb or 1 sword that's B. So now when I draw and I got 2 bombs that are B and then a sword that's like B, I can put in all of those. I can pick those 4 cards and then use them for the time because there's this timer which you're battling and then it's like live action and there's no turn base, but the turn base happens when you draw cards and you're like, okay, I'm gonna pick these cards. Boom. I know. I'm
It sounds like
probably.
a game you'd have to experience it, I think, to
It really
understand.
is. It's like a. And what's crazy is like there's a couple different fan made games out and still in development, have been in development, and lost projects, but like there's one that's tried to modernize and like expand it. I think it's called Escape from Eden. It's on Steam and it's like there's like a little bit of a cult following to the Mega Man Battle
Mhm.
Network franchise, but it's not nowhere near because I was like, oh my god, this ROM hacking stuff on Pokemon is so cool, but like I don't really have the mental capacity to play Pokemon for more than like 10 minutes. Like, oh yeah, this was fun when I was a kid. It's like not as fun now.
Yeah.
But I was like, Mega Man Battle Network, that game, I played the crap out of that game. So I was like, let me see if there's any ROM hacks for this. And there is, but it's like nowhere near as developed as the Pokemon game.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this is the unofficial patch to fix these bugs and translation issues. Like, oh, where's the new content?
I want a full overhaul. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but I played this one game, fan man game, Shanghai.exe. Okay. And I think it's like Japanese, might be Chinese, but anyways, fan man game from Japan or China. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. And then it recently, or not too long ago, got translated, fully translated. Because there was like translation guides, but I'm like, I ain't got time for that. Like, I don't want to play a game and like have to sit here and look at the wiki for what. Oh my god, wait, wait, I played Tarkov. Never mind. Maybe I should. maybe I. That wasn't such an extreme thing. But anyways,
Well, you gave
that
up on the wiki and EFT too, to be fair.
that's true. That's true. But now that there's an official English patch or just like version, I'm not really too sure what the status is. I think it's like the original developer stopped and then someone else picked it up. I'm not really sure. But I was just like blown away at how like they I don't know, it's just such a good fan made game because it's like it's like the mechanics got even more in depth, but it kept some of the because the series went on, the original Mega Man Battle Network went on for 6 games. There's Battle Network 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all on the Game Boy Advance. And then they tried a different spin-off series with the DS, but we won't talk about that. And so this version took like kind of like the aesthetic and art style of the earlier games and some of the mechanics, like the core mechanics of the earlier games, and then merged them with some of the newer stuff in there. So for me, because I played my first one was Mega Man Battle Network 3, and that was my favorite because it was my first, and then I kind of jumped around, and it feels like that to me, and it's like God, it's like they took all the best. It's like they made the game for me. I love it so much. So I'm playing that currently, and I'm just like, yeah, I just think ROM hacking was so cool, and I was like kind of intrigued to like look into it, and then I did look into it a little bit, watch a few YouTube videos, and I was like, all right, this is like actual gamer coding hackerman stuff, like yeah, it's like you got a hexadecimal stuff. Like I'm just like, this is way but it's amazing. It's like, how these things used to operate. I mean, this thing's like I don't even know how much these cartridges hold. Like, is it 16 megabytes? That might be too big. But it's just like it's literally just like I guess there's some code, but it's just like data and you plug it into the machine and then the machine that's the RAM that it's reading from, and it's just like
Yeah,
it's
like what's
crazy.
so crazy about those old systems is there's so much less like now it's like, oh, it's a piece of software and then it runs on your hardware or whatever. It's like, I mean, yeah, the distinction is abstracted away these days. So you don't really tell, but you know, it's like even when you've got a disc, you put the disc in, it reads the disc, it reads the data off, blah blah blah. But like back in the day, you know, you'd have like, and you have all of the little like pins on the things, like you know, the old like Nintendo consoles as well, and you plug the thing in, and it's like the two circuits connect.
Yes, exactly.
It's not, you know, it's not like it's a separate entity. It's like
right.
like kind of fundamentally doesn't work without it. It's like it's funny. I don't know. It's so much closer to. I mean, I guess that's what it was. It was like, you know, it was an actual piece of hardware that you plug in that like that has the game on it. It's like it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. Which I mean, I guess the same is true for like disc. You know, it's just a newer technology, but
yeah, and the interface is different. Yeah, but it seems more segregated now. Whereas like back then, it's like it just sort of becomes an integral part of it. It's like it like powers up the cartridge. You know, when you stick it in, it's like fun.
Yeah,
I like it. It's like actually part of the electronic circuit.
Yeah, like basically
cool.
the machine can't function. Like I guess you could cut it on, but like you would just get a screen, the boot up, and then that was it. It's like anyways.
Good times.
It's fun. So I'm kind of playing through that and just enjoying that. I mean, maybe I'll dabble. I would love to do it, like dabble into ROM hacking, because I think it's just so cool, that idea of like taking, you know, hexadecimals, and like you basically have to translate everything, and then once you like translate it, well, I mean, I guess you can't even really translate it, but like it's just like you flipping a switch, and there's like a bajillion switches. You know, it's like, okay, if we change this from like a one here, like you can do some searching for like keywording, because like there is a little bit of like translation, but it's just so fascinating to me. It's like how it just looks like wizardry, you know. It's like it's like Egyptian, it's literally like Egyptian hieroglyphics, and it's just like, you know, someone just like, oh yes, and now we have third generation graphics. Like, what? How did you do that?
Near in the Matrix level.
Yeah. An entirely new video game. Boom. It's like, what? It's amazing.
Yeah, it is wizardry. It is wizardry.
So tell me, how's your campaign going on M61?
Good. The video is nearly finished. I'm putting a video out on Saturday. The proper video, full video. The campaign will be well underway. Usually gets the most attention, but you know, how many M61s have I got right now? I've got I can't even see. Let me unload this bad boy. Go. Unload my 50 rounder.
Oh yeah.
I currently have 1,149 M61. And we're still crafting. We're still crafting, Church.
I mean, I know you're like you know, not the average Tarkov player, so you have some luxuries and advantages, but that's still insane, because you only get 80. It's 80 every 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
So, and presumably you're not a madman. Like, let's say you do this 8 hours a day.
I'm not a madman. I'm not a madman. I just like, I'd probably do like 4 crafts, I would say, a day.
Oh wow, that's still kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, if you don't play a day, then you save. Or 6 or 7 or 8, 9, 10. I mean, who's counting really?
I think like I'm not playing today, right? I'm not playing with M61 today, so I'm probably going to do like maybe five runs, you know, on off while I'm like editing, writing scripts, you know, recording, blah blah. So that's like 400 M61, and then I'm stacking them with M80 in my mags.
Oh yeah,
as well. I mean, I'm slowly once I'm getting over 1,000, I'm like kind of going to stop. Well, I'm going to stop stacking as much. You know what I mean? Because you don't need to after that point.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, now I have loads. I'm gonna end up with 10,000 if I don't, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm making them non-stop, and they are actually. I mean, it's not like super cheap. Every craft rotation costs about 100k. So it's not nothing, but at the same time, you could do like one scav run and just make the money back in between.
It all comes back to the scav, baby.
Yeah, or just pick up a couple of items. You know, like 100k is not that much in the grand scheme of things. You know, the MDR costs 170k just to buy it. So one of the most expensive parts is the 50 rounder. I quite like the 50 rounder is good on the MDR, I think. On the Scar and suppressed, it makes the gun a bit clunky, but loud Scar with the 50 rounder is like pretty funny. I think I'm actually preferring the MDR though, even though it's got worse recoil. it just feels a bit more flexible. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's shorter. The ergo on it is just way better.
Yeah.
It just feels better to use than the
Yeah.
Scar. Even though I do like the Scar, and the Scar's fun and enjoyable, and it's also like 10 times easier to mod as well. To do the Scar one, you have to like buy another Scar, and then swap everything over, and then mod it,
Right.
and then buy the 50 rounder, right? And the 50 rounder is 3 TNTs and an all, and the TNTs are slowly going up and up and up in price because it's literally like mechanic 4, no
Wonder why.
quests. So TNTs are about 25k right
So
now. So you can expect to be paying about 90k for the drum mag.
that magazine can go into not just the Scar X, whatever, but
The
the
X17
MDR.
specifically. Yeah, it can go into the MDR. It can go into the spear.
Oh
It can
my.
go into not that anyone can get the spear really unless you do billion Lightkeeper quests. So that's kind of like not a problem. But yeah, technically the spear, which make it like outrageous, it can go into the SR25 as well, and it can go in the Arsaus.
Yeah. But
So
man, yeah, I was gonna ask because I
yeah.
think last week you said you were gonna see how it goes with the Scar. So I'm curious, how did it go? I mean, sounds like
As in
MDR.
using this guy. Yeah, I mean, I do. It is good. I
Mhm.
think I don't know. I think the MDR. I just feel like the MDR is more general because you can
Yeah.
kind of DMR with it a bit easier because the ergo is higher
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But like the Scar is also fine. Like it's got better recoil, so it's easier in some situations, but it's a bit longer and a bit more cumbersome. The MDR's better for fighting around corners and stuff. Like I don't know, I've had mixed experience with both. Like I've got kills with both. I've been killed with both. But the MDR just feels probably easy to use, but the Scar's probably is maybe more effective when you're actually
Do you feel
shooting
like
because of the whole recoil situation.
if there wasn't 50 rounders, the gap would be much like closer or narrower?
Honestly, because of the well, if the Scar was stuck with the 20s and the MDR could get the thing is the 25s are so expensive. They're like 90k anyway
Mm.
for 5 more bullets, and it's like, am I really going to pay
Are they foundry
90k
grade
for
only?
5 more bullets? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
Is that new?
the 25 round it's came with the spear.
Okay.
And then they made, and I don't know whether you could buy the 25s originally. I can't remember. And then they made them find a raid or something. But it's weird that you can barter for the 50, but you can't barter for the 25s. You can
25s,
buy
right.
the 25s kind of by virtue of buying the MDR from Mechanic. So there's an MDR on
Okay.
Mechanic which has the 25 round in it, but it's 290k.
Oh,
And it's like
that sounds really
Cobra
expensive.
Grip, ANPQ. It's got a Thor suppressor on it, which is not a good one.
Is the sellback
EXPS
at least
cam.
half? Or is this one of those
I mean,
artificially inflated?
it's about fair value,
Okay.
given that the Lancer 25s are 80k on Flea.
Yeah.
About fair value because the MDR is an expensive ass gun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's it's $1,274, which is 191k.
Wow.
So it probably is worth it, the Mechanic one, because you get the XP Hollow, you get the 25 rounder, which you can sell back, you get the suppressor, which you could probably sell for 30-40k as a group. So it is probably, and you get the Cobra as well. It probably still is cheaper if you're selling the mag. But yeah, just because dollars are a lot. Dollars are more than you think. When you see like 1,270, you don't think it's I mean, it's quite simple. It's just it's times like 150, but I wouldn't think intuitively that it's going to go up nearly 200k. You know, but I think we just automatically devalue it. But anyway, like it's good. Like they're both good. I've enjoyed this is the thing. I've enjoyed both. They're both good. They're both good guns. And the 50 rounder is unnecessary most of the time, and saves your ass a small percentage of the time. I had one where like I popped around the corner and there were 2 player scavs, and I killed the first one, and then I just like spray transferred onto the second guy, and I like missed the first set of shots. If I had the 20, I'd be dead. But because I had the 50, he got like the final like 15 M80s that were in the middle somewhere, and I wasn't even out of bullets. So, and because they're only 650 fire rate, so it takes a long time for you to run out of ammo. So the fit, like having 150 and then 20s afterwards is kind of what I'm doing at the minute, and it's good. But I was doing chumming with it. Blasted a couple of people on interchange from one of the upstairs octagons. I've been getting a bit better at that. But yeah, I don't know. It's really good. If you see them, I mean, there's the classic Tarkov things of like they see you first and they snap the headshot. Okay, fine, you die, right? Whatever. But like you basically in any situation where you see them first, or it's kind of equal, or you both start to fire each other at the same time, they don't kill you instantly with a headshot. They just drop. And that's the thing. It doesn't save you most of those other times because it can't. Right? That's got nothing to do with the gun. But when you put the crosshair over the people and you hold down the button, they fall over, and that's what you want. And it works really well for that. Obviously, right? It's just super super good. And you can full auto. Like I full autoed somebody from the road on Lighthouse when they were coming up over one of the ridge lines, kind of more towards like the mayor's house kind of area. And I came up over the ridge line, and I just like snapped him and just went do do do, and he just tumbled straight down the hill. I was just like, ah! And then I got shot in the head with a pistol 3 seconds later. But you know, that's Lighthouse for you. So yeah, I just think it's too good to be crafted in that quantity at that speed.
Yeah,
I think it'd be different if it was an 8-hour craft, for example.
Is there even
or 10-hour craft?
Like
they shorten them all down on purpose, which is good because we all asked them to, and I think it's fine for the most part. That's okay. 55A1, that's fine. You know, the special rounds for SR2M, that's okay. You know, BP even is kind of fine. But yeah, you shouldn't be able to do that with M61. M61 is it's a whole nother grade above. It should be fighter made only, really, but like there needs to be some way Balti people can get it because 762 NATO Baltis like shooting M80 is a bit. It's all right, especially with the pen buff, but it'd be nice if they could get a couple of bullets, or like even if you say, oh, I do want to use it in an assault rifle, like on full auto. Well, you're gonna have to stack. You just can't make anywhere near enough. That's how it should be. You should have to make a hard choice. I feel like here I could just choose to spend the money and get M61 as much as I need, you know. And yeah, 80 every 2 hours isn't that much, but you know, even for casual people, you could put one on in the morning, probably do 2 in the evening. Like even somebody who's like out at work all day, I think you could get at least 240 daily, even if you're out all week in work, like throughout the day. You just put one on before you go to work. It's 2 hours. You come in, you put one on. You know, you have dinner, whatever. You put another one on while you're playing. Like you could easily get that much. And stacking that with M80, you'll have enough to play with the MDR, with the SCAR, whatever. And then you can put it in like an RFB or something, or an SR25. You don't have to go like I'm going like balls to the wall crazy with this, right? I'm putting it in really expensive guns. The SCAR is like X17 SCAR is really turbo expensive, and then with the drum it's like crazy. Whereas like you could just put it in SR25 with 20 rounders, or an M1A, or the RFB, or whatever. The ultimate min-max is the RFB. You know, you do the barter, you barter 2 CPU fans for gas analyzers, you buy the RFB for 7,000 rubles, and then you fill it full of M61. It's like harkens back to the old days. The good old days,
right.
Church.
God, then you could put can't you put 30-round mags in RFB or no?
No, that's got its own special ones. You can put 30 rounders in the RFB.
Yeah.
You can take I think it's the L1A1.
Is the foul? Yeah, I thought you could. But I mean that yeah.
But in RFB, 30 rounders is like
right.
It's a 50 rounder in the SCAR equivalent, right?
Yeah.
Because the rate of fire.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No, it's too good. I'm making a video. It's too good.
Okay. I mean, because I mean, you know, I wanted to play devil's advocate, like, but Giga, they reduced the pin to 55, but like, I know Tarkov math. Okay, that's basically like 100% pin class 6.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
what is
if
it?
You're wearing class 6, the rarest armor in the whole game that's only found in raid outside of Ref Sobralos, 60% of the time, you get 1 extra shot before you die.
Is it that bad? Is it 80% for the first hit?
It's like 6. What do you mean? No, as in like, so you 2-shot somebody wearing class 6 armor 30% of the time.
Okay, I mean that's more acceptable than 100% of the time what it used to be.
Class 5, you die in 2 shots. Right, class 6, you die in 2 shots a third of the time.
Yeah, I guess under that context.
The very next shot, then you're dead.
I was thinking back in the days where everyone, you know, was like 2 months in the wipe, and if you were a Chad, you were always wearing a slick. But in this current Tarkov, it's like Chad status is now like what's that? What's I can't think of it. The black armor that Prepper sells.
The Corund.
Corund, yeah. Thank you. Chat
Yeah.
status is now like I got a level class 5 armor. And it's like it does even it's like effective durability. You know, it repairs well because it's like armored steel, but like it breaks down easily. So like it just cuts through that like butter. And that's like one of the more easier obtainable good armors in the game, quote unquote. So yeah. Because what is the actual base? If I have a fresh class 6 and you shoot me in the plate, what are the odds it's going to pin off the rip, the first bullet? We're talking like 80?
It's not that much.
60?
Not versus 55 because the tipping point's always the 7, magic 7.
Right. Yeah,
55 is like 57. Yeah, so 57 is the 50. It's like the 40 is like 55 or something. So 55 is like 40, 36,
30. Okay,
yeah, 40s ish, somewhere around there.
See, I want to
10 on the first shot.
I want to say like it doesn't sound that bad, but you basically just increase the bullets to kill from 2 to 3 on average.
Some of the time, it's that rather than 2 hits to kill, it's now 2.6 hits to kill.
Which, if your rate of fire is like 600, I mean that's still pretty fast. And like what the scar is like 650, which isn't that much, 10% more, but I don't know.
They're both 650, I think.
Isn't the FAL like 700, or is that one also?
And the FAL's 700. The FAL's 700. The MDR and the SCAR 650.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. Unfortunately, I just think the 50, the 5 lost in penetration just isn't enough to justify. Because like, yeah, I mean, if I buy good armor, I want to do something, and if I buy good bullets, I want to do something. But like, at the very high end, I just feel like good ammo just like breaks it just throws all of that out the window.
And the point that I'm going to make in this video when it does come out is I actually think the rest of the balance is actually all right.
I think so too.
M61 kind of stands out on its own. Like if you look at all the other ammos that you can craft, there are some better ones that are locked behind annoying stuff. Like you can craft APSX after doing the guide. But APSX is 35 damage. Like it's a very different proposition when the thing does 35 damage versus doing like 75 damage. Like, these two things are very, very different. The other one that you can craft that's good is 54 RBT, but that's also 55 pen, I think. And then you have to stick it in some godforsaken gun. You know, whereas that's the thing about M61. It goes in like good weapons.
What is 300 Blackout AP? Can't you craft that one? You got to do like a really ridiculous quest line, but
I think that is that the cleaner or something you have to do?
You had to kill like 20 raiders.
It's like raiders or something. I think it might be even more than that. Maybe like 50 or something stupid. Yeah. And it's after the guide. And that thing is only 48 pen.
Yeah, see, like, come on.
It's not even that good, right? It's the same pen as BP, roughly. It's like, it's slightly worse than BP.
Yeah. I mean, sure, the gun fires faster, but like...
It's like swings and roundabouts. Like, BP will 2-shot you. This thing is a 3-shot, but it fires quicker. So, okay, fair enough. Like 762, 54 RBT, you get after Punisher Part 6, you can craft that. It's 55 pen. Sure, that should probably be a 2-shot through Class 5 because you've got to put it in SVD or an SVT or an ABT or a PKM or something along those lines, or Mosin or something. Right? So it's like crappy guns. So they're not good. These guns, they're all compromised in some way. You know, it's either recoil, ergo, sights. You know, there's something bad about all of them. I mean, you're taking some trade-offs. Whereas then M61, it's just like, 55 pen, 75 damage, goes full auto, 50-round drum. You know, guns that are actually decent on recoil. You can get the ergo, like you can go loud BMD, one of the best muzzle brakes in the whole game.
God, you can put it M80.
Oh God.
I mean,
and you can put M80 underneath it, which is very, very good.
Oh no, sorry, M60. Too many M's.
You could put it in M60, and you can put a voodoo on it. It flies fast. You can fire it over long distance, short distance. Like people go like, someone came the other day. It was just like, I've been playing with the SR3M with SB6 in arena. It's just like this seems to just be the best in the whole game. And I'm like, sure, to like
at that
60 meters.
Yeah.
But like, you're not going to kill a rogue on Lighthouse with that, for example. But that's the thing about the MDR. You stick the MDR with a 50-round drum in it, you can kill anybody on any map, anywhere, any AI. I found Killer the other day in Interchange, absolutely steamrolled him with M61. Just rolled straight over the top of him and killed him.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like, no match. You know, it's like that's the one time you want to find him. It's like always on interchange. You're just like, oh, roaming around, you know, killing PMCs left, right, and center, and you're just like, oh no, it's Killer, and I've only got FMJ and an MP7. It's like, run! I'm completely done for. So like the one time you want to find him, you're just like, I've got a 50 rounder, and half of it is M61. Like you, sir, are in the wrong place at the wrong time. You found me on my tirade. I'm on my spree here. You just not even Killer is a match for the M61 MDR. You're just going to die. I don't know how much. I don't care how much health you've got. Like 75 damage is so much, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing too, right? Like even if you hit them anywhere, it's like that's a lot of damage to the arm, for example. Like that arm's blacked, you know. Whereas, like you said, if you're using the APSX, that arm's good to go. You can take another bullet.
Yeah, and then once you start blacking the arm, or like once the arm is blacked and it's going through, you're taking like half damage as well.
Yeah.
So if you shoot through somebody's arm, this is always the thing that I find is a bit crazy about the way the system works now. You shoot through somebody's arm and out the other side without interacting with another body part, the MP7 will deal 17 damage to the rest of their body.
That's crazy.
It's like so little. It's so little because it's like 49%.
That's before it's split, right? Or is it 17 distributed everywhere?
That's the total. That's the total.
Yeah.
Before it gets split up.
Each limb is getting like what? 4?
It's like 4 or something. Depends on the limb. Yeah. It's like hardly anything. It's like hardly
what was that? Was that oh my gosh. The PMC in the race like batting off.
Yeah, exactly. It will go through the arm now though into the chest. That's fixed. So if they're like this and you shoot them, it'll do 17 and then also the thorax damage too. So they'll do it. But then the crazy thing about the whole of this story, which is just really weird, is that because of what BSG's done, like the M62 round is worse than M80 and now finding raid only.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it's got to be a typo.
Maybe you can craft it. Can you craft it? Actually,
no, you can't.
I don't know if you can.
We looked it up last week.
It's finding raid only.
It's a unicorn.
We did, yeah. So it's just like it's just the outlier. Like 54R BT is fine because it's it's hard to use.
Right.
But M61 is just so much a step above other ammos you can craft.
Because you can't even craft SMB, right? Which SMB is like
nope. SMB can't be crafted anymore.
Have they changed that one, or is that one still like 65?
That one's still like 60.
It's like some overpin number.
Yeah, it's 62 pen with 75 damage. But unless you're going against class 6, like it's
right.
It's like the same as M61, really.
Yeah.
It only matters if someone's got like a BR5 on. How often do people wear class 6? Like so rare. It's so rare.
Yeah, which basically means you ignore class 5 armor. And what that means is everyone's a hatchling to you. And you are a god among men. Yes.
And you can also deal with the bosses, no problem.
Yeah.
Because you've got enough damage. It's just like it's the god bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you become, you transcend and become a deity. Bow down, ye Karund wearers. I see thine as naked.
You become the server admin. It's like, yeah, you're going back to the lobby. You're going back to the lobby.
Yeah. /kill pussy destroyer 420.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, like I would almost say if there was only semi-autos in the game, it might be okay, but like...
And it might be okay. It's the full autos break it, and the 50 rounder as well.
Well, like even
it's way too much.
I feel like the MDR. I don't want to like shift it to the MDR as the culprit, but like MDR is very good. But
it is very good.
Yeah, I just think I don't know. The problem is I'm conflicted because I would say like on one hand, I really like the idea of like it's like a 8-hour craft and you get 20 of them. But then I think, oh my god, what about little Billy? I love using little Billy. He's my favorite person to pull out my hat. Little Billy gets home from school, after doing his homework. He's only got an hour to play before bedtime. So he logs on, starts his craft. But oh no, little Billy's got cut off his hideout because he only has one fuel can. So now he's got to wait. It's like the time ticks down from 10 hours to 9.5 or whatever it is, when he wakes up next day. I actually don't know is it 10% of a reduction?
What, the increase or whatever if you don't have the fuel?
It's not 10% reduction. More, It's like 90% what I mean to say.
Yeah, it's like
or
a lot more.
increase. I'm getting my numbers.
For somebody who's in that situation who isn't able to buy fuel or whatever, they're not crafting M61. It's like it's far enough down
That's
the
true.
line.
You know what? That's fair. That is a fair point.
Like that's yeah. It's not an early game ammo, even if you beeline to this thing like I did and like metagaming.
But see, that's the other confusing part. And this is why I still feel like it's got to be a typo. Someone put a, a 1 where there should have been a 2. Is that it's on the quest line of Spotor and, Wet Job and all that stuff. Whereas, like, CBJ, M55A1, 300 Blackout, AP that we were just talking about, those were on, like, level 50 quests, you know what I mean? This thing's on, like, it is a long quest line, but, like, the level requirements are, like, 12 or something. I don't know why. Peacekeeper's level requirements have always been whack on the wiki. It's like, I trust the wiki. I'm sure they, are doing diligence, but it's like, it's weird that the Peacekeeper quest requirements are so low. It's like every time I'm doing those,
they're just not a thing.
Yeah, every time I'm doing those, I'm like in the 30s and 20s. It's like not even relevant. But anyways, I think it's got to be a mistake. It just the math doesn't add up for me. Like it makes no sense that I have to kill 50 rails in reserve to craft a unicorn round for a unicorn caliber that's going to completely
rip. The same as BP.
Yeah, it's going to completely rip the barreling within my MCX to where I have to buy a new one, a completely brand new one, because there is a receiver you can buy now, yeah?
For what?
A new lower.
The MCX? Yeah, from Skier, yeah, you can get one now.
Well, that's nice. Guess I can't complain too much.
Yeah.
But still...
The difficulty of the quest is getting Bolty 7. That's the hardest part.
Yes. Yeah, someone did say that. I saw that on the comments. They're like, how am I supposed to get the sniper skill? I'm like, just play Arena. Do what Giga did. Assuming you have Arena. If not, you better get used to load Mosin while you're sprinting.
Or you just do Shootable On or Tarkov Shoot or whatever. Like if you beeline those quests, you could do it that way. If you're going for, hardly anyone goes for Kappa, right? But like if you're going for Kappa, then you get it for free. Because you do Shootable in Heaven and you do Tarkov Shooter 8 at some point, and you get 5 and then 3.
What I used to do...
And by the time you've done them, you'll be on like level 2 or 3 bolties anyway, so you'll have loads of skill.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is like a strategy you have to do at the very start of it, but like as soon as you reasonably can, like just start buying Mosins. Like the best ones are like the baby Mosins that you get off Scavs, and like insure them, sprint to your quest destination, and just start spamming R, and you top load the cheapest round you can get, like T46 or what's even below FMJ. Anyways, and you love the snipers here that way, and it sucks and it's repetitive and it's boring, but like it gets the job done. You reach the milestone, but yeah, I don't know. I just still feel like it isn't enough. Like it's not even. It's like killing. The difference between packing FMJ 1,000 times into my Mosin versus killing 50 raiders on reserve is like that's kind of a it's like a different. It's both are a lot of work, but like the quality of the work or like the actual means of work is very different. They both require a certain amount of sanity to be relinquished, but in different forms. One is repetitive, mindless action. The other one is frustration and anger on a virtual video game.
At least playing the game, though.
Exactly. At least you're engaging with a lot of mechanics, not just a singular mechanic known as the reload button. My grandma could play this game in that case. Hey, I've seen her on the slot. She knows how to move the finger and hit the button. She could do it.
Too funny. Too funny. It's so true, though.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I love this game. I hate it, but I don't actually hate it, but I think I love the internal bonding that fellow Tarkov players share. It's like it's God. What is even an analogy?
It's like a group of people that all went to war in the same war.
Exactly.
In the same army.
Like, you get it.
You weren't necessarily in the same squad, but you've got this shared experience, even if you never interacted before.
Oh my god.
Only those in the trenches can understand.
Truly.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
Well, I'd best go and finish that video then.
yeah, someone's gotta do it. You can't see me now, but in Tarkov, I am digitally saluting you. You're doing God's work here, getting
Yeah.
M61 banished. So look forward to that. I mean, I
Look forward
just,
to being banished or changed or something.
yeah.
I don't want it to be gone completely. I would rather have. I think my genuine suggestion is just like put M61 back in fighting raid only, and put a craft in for like 20 M993 that takes like 10 hours. So you can make it like the best bullet, make it even the best bullet. It's like kind of makes people think even more. It's not like M61, that's like Chad good bullet from all eternity. M993 is like the unicorn scarcity sniping bullet, right? There's like there's a psychological difference, I think, between M993 and M61.
Yeah.
M993 has never been widely spammed, whereas M61 has been widely spammed many times before, and I feel that people feel differently about it. And so if people went, 80 M61, it's turned to in 2 hours, and that's turned to 10 M61 over, your expected lifetime, that's been changed into M993. It's like, okay, there's a rationale difference here. You know?
I would also say too, it would be interesting. This isn't as important, but it would be interesting to have M62 come back, because it's like, it's where it's at currently. It's basically a crappier M80.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were talking about this the other day that like M62 should just be on. It should just be on Peacekeeper 4.
Yeah.
And then M80's behind the quest as usual.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tracer, and like some people like Tracers, but like particularly in this case, whether you like the Tracer feature or not, it just does have worse stats than M80. So like,
yeah, not by much, but a little bit.
Yeah.
And it makes it awkward to use in long range guns because you can be seen shooting.
Assuming you don't want someone to. Yeah, I mean, maybe you wanted to see your bullet drop over 200 meters, 2,000 meters if you're sniping rogues on Lighthouse. Maybe. Okay, sure, but
Maybe.
Anyways. Yeah, look forward to that.
Anyways.
I guess otherwise, that's going to conclude today's cast.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you all next week.
Ciao for now.